Hi, I'm Lee Waddell, original Ghostface from Scream 1.
Hi, I'm Alan Robinson, Scream 2's Ghostface.
Hi, and I'm Jeff Brockton, Scream 3's Ghostface, and you are watching
Craven.
Something
Scary.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen's visitors. Gentlemen's? Yeah, sure. Why not? Maybe there's a lot of gentlemen's. Why not? Visitors, subscribers, and of course, my amazing patrons and channel members, otherwise known as my Cravenites. Welcome to Craven Something Scary, where it's all horror all the time. Tonight, guys, we're talking about horror. To me, it's the cream of the crop, the creme de la creme, the chef's kiss, the rise of the penthouse through the elevator. We're talking about Wes Craven films, guys. Come on. You know my love and affinity for the amazing film director, film story writer, Wes Craven. No surprise to anyone here. And, I was thinking, how cool would it be? Got together with a couple of great friends, great knowledgeable people. One of them's a first-time guest I'm very excited about. And one, they live here on the channel with me part-time. Okay, let's be honest. And I hang out over there a lot as well. He's on my couch, I'm on his couch, whatever, it's all good. But you'll know who it is. And we're going to talk about 3 of our favorite Wes Craven movies. Now, these favorites can change, obviously, but right now they are, of course, The People Under the Stairs, Nightmare on Elm Street, and my personal favorite, as of at least today, of Wes Craven's career is the masterpiece. We all know it. It's Ghostface himself, the original Scream. So that's what's in store for tonight. We're going to have a blast. So I hope you guys be ready to leave your comments as we talk about each film. Would love to see them. Would love to know what you guys are thinking as well. But as always, with live streams, guys, and especially with multiple guests, you guys already know that we won't get to everybody's comments, okay? It's impossible because of time and volume. And we're going to be moving kind of quickly tonight so that we get everything done for you guys in a couple of hours. So bear with us if we don't get to your comment or question. It's just the nature of it, but it's not personal. However, should you have a comment about one of these movies or a question that you'd like our opinions on about it, there is a way that I can personally promise you I will cover it. The whole panel will get a chance to respond. And that's if you send a super chat tonight. Send in your super chat questions or comments. It goes to the front of the line. I get a special notification that you've sent that message through, and I will move you ahead of everyone else. And you have my promise, as every stream, guys, I will bring up your comment on screen, and you'll be able to get addressed by us or one particular or all of us. Doesn't matter. It's up to you. But you have that opportunity. And guess what? It also helps the channel. So if you're enjoying the content, it helps me to continue to do these things. So you help keep the lights on. You help keep fuel in the tank that runs the engine of the channel. How about that night? Yeah, I was off the cuff too. So anyway, please, guys, remember you're helping out the channel, and I appreciate it very, very much if you choose to do so. Now, tonight, before I bring my guests on, we're going to get rolling. One thing I want to mention, I don't do it on every stream, as you know, but I decided what better time than tonight to do an instant reward challenge. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. It's not an instant reward challenge. It's a reward challenge. So it's almost instant, though, because tonight, and the challenge is already running, you see it on the chat box at the top. If you guys would like me to host an unplanned live stream for tomorrow night, back to back, where we'll talk Scream 7, we'll talk whatever's on your mind. I might even have a guest pop in that you're not going to expect. If you'd like that to happen, because I'm not planning to stream tomorrow. It's not my plan. Not planning again until Saturday. But I will do it tomorrow. If you guys want to do it, and it's up to you. It's a rewards challenge for Super Chats. If 20 Super Chats come in between now and the end of the stream, which is going to be basically 9 o'clock Central Time, 10 Eastern. If we hit the number, then I will host it for tomorrow night, and you guys will have me back and my guest potentially back, and all of us will be together once more to hang out. So there it is, but it's up to you. I'll leave it in your hands, okay? That's the challenge for tonight, and if you want to see it happen, you control it. 20 Super Chats, it's a done deal. All right, guys. Having said that, let's get to my guest and what we're talking about tonight. So first up, I alluded to both of them actually earlier, but this individual is someone you know well. He's on the channel as frequently as it's possible, basically, because I just love to spend time talking with him, and you guys love him too. You guys are subscribed to his channel. Most of you are. We're a shared community, essentially. You know this guy. It's my brother, Mr. Knight from the Night Watch Zone. Hey, Knight.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Ooh, the energy's flowing. It's flowing.
Yeah, that was a good way to describe it. I like that. The engine of the channel. That was quick thinking.
Yeah, it was. And I'm about to go back at the end of this and watch the replay and write it down so that I will remember it, because I won't remember it. Oh my gosh. And guys, my next guest I want to bring on is a first-time guest on the channel. And that's really a shame. That's on my part, because I should have brought him on a long time ago. I've spent many times with him, or a few times at least, online streaming with him on Knight's channel. And it's always such fun. He cracks me up with his sense of humor. And what impresses me the most is not only that he's a nice guy and he cracks me up, but he's got an encyclopedia's worth of knowledge on horror films. I've never seen anything like it. The guy blows my mind every time we spend time together. So I said, you know what? It's going to happen. It's going to happen tonight, finally. So first, and definitely not the last, guys, please welcome from Neon Black Reviews. It is Neil. What's up, man?
Not much, guys. How are you doing?
Good.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you for being here tonight for the very first time. And I can't wait for my audience who don't know you to get to know you a little bit tonight. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. So thanks for having me on.
Very welcome. Very welcome. And listen, guys, in the stream, on the chat, and thank you, Val, the general. We salute you. Val is already putting up links to Neil's channel. And listen, guys, Neil, you're getting close to a special number on your channel on subscribers.
Yeah, steadily creeping up on it. So
you're almost there. Literally, like last I checked, 26 away. Am I right?
Yeah, 26, 25,
20,
somewhere
25,
around
20.
Yep.
Yeah, 25. Guys, listen, 25 subs tonight will get Neil to, check this out, 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And guys, you know what a milestone that is in YouTube. That is so difficult to obtain. You can get 1,000 followers on Twitter in your sleep, but not YouTube. It's true, but so not true. YouTube. YouTube's different. It is not the same thing.
It is.
So guys, please, please subscribe to Neil's channel. And Neil, we're already getting one in. DJ just went and subscribed. That's
thanks,
awesome.
DJ.
And Stella. There we go.
Right.
There we go. And that's right. Mayanne, who's moderating along with Julie, I see here, and Val, thank you for that. We're gonna do our very best tonight to make that happen. That would blow my mind, and I'd be so happy, Neil, if it
That
happened
would be
live.
so cool.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
that
that
would
be
be
a-
great. So
Wow,
Yeah.
it'd be so cool. Look at there. We're already at 78. Let's go, guys.
well, there we
Come
go.
on.
22 more. 22.
There you go.
22. That's right. Paul is asking, does it have to be a $5 super chat for the goal? No. I've opened it up tonight, so every amount counts, guys. We just got to hit 20. That's all. But Paula, any amount counts. Coop, let's look at here. Neil, the
right.
floodgates are open. Let's
Man,
go.
we're doing it. Looking
All right.
great. Looking great.
It is happening. All
Yeah,
right,
and
guys.
Gina's been a subscriber for ages. She definitely has. So
That's
thank you,
right.
Gina.
Oh, Boop.
Hmm.
Boop just subscribed, Neil. We got another one. Guys,
All right.
All right.
you're killing it. And I am so thankful to you guys. You know, Knight, and you know this better than anybody. The support that we share in our shared community is
Yep.
nothing but love. It is nothing but support. And
So
it's just
true.
wonderful.
Yep,
Man.
absolutely true. And we couldn't do what we do without that type of support. It's
No,
literally
no way.
impossible.
Absolutely. It's impossible. It would be impossible. So
Mhm.
guys, keep it going. But listen, also, hey, Polar just subscribed. Thank you, Polar.
Woohoo.
Fantastic.
Yeah, thanks.
And let me
Paula.
say this. Let me say this correctly. Not to walk over you, Neil. I didn't mean to. But I got to say my special thing. This is a thing I do for Polar only. It's bye Polar. There we go. That's how I always introduce Polar. I have to do it. All right, Val's keeping tab. We're at 982. There we go.
Oh wow.
Nice.
Yes.
We are moving closer and closer by the minute.
Yes.
Seriously, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Real
thanks,
quick,
guys. I really do appreciate it.
absolutely. I know everyone
Yep.
appreciates you being here, and those that are new to the channel, they're going to love what you do, Neil. And by the way, I finally
Mhm.
got around after all this time to watching Neil's review of Scream. It's a spoiler-free review, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and you guys will too. So I highly recommend when you go to his channel after the stream, watch his Scream review video. What better way to kick off your introduction to what Neil does, and then stick around and check out the rest. You're going to love it. And also, I know a
You
guy
will.
whose content's pretty good around here too. And his name is Knight. And he has a channel called the Night Watch Zone. So, guys, please, if you're not subscribed to Knight, I know a lot of you are, but if you're not, if you're hearing this voice, my voice, please go subscribe to the Night Watch Zone. Links in the chat. Thank you to my moderators, Mayanne, Val, Julie, and Sarah. I think she's going to be coming in. But I thank you all for working so hard in the chat tonight, guys. We're up to 985. Let's keep
All
it
right.
going. We're 15 away. JT, my buddy,
I
just
think-
subbed.
I think you're gonna hit that thing by this weekend, man.
Yeah, I think so
Sounds
too.
like it.
And
I
I,
think,
I-
yep.
I just have a feeling. I don't know. I just have a feeling by this weekend we're gonna get you situated.
Awesome.
I do. Knight, I think I know. I'm picking up what you're throwing. I'm catching what you're throwing, and I think you're right. Totally. So if maybe this tonight was the jumping board, like the diving board for Neil's channel start, and we'll finish it tomorrow night, if not tonight.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
Yep. Well, sorry, I probably shouldn't have said that, but oops. Sorry. Anyway, the point is, go subscribe to the Night Watch Zone and to Neil's channel, please. Thank you, guys. You got to love being live, but it's how we roll. This is live. Doing it live.
Do it live.
Yeah, we are live and on the fly, my friend. All right, guys. Hey, what's up, Amber? Real quick. Real quick hi to the chat. There's nearly 40 folks here, so I'm not going to be able to say everyone by name, but I do want to say hi to Amber, one of my
Amber.
OG subscribers. My gosh.
Yeah.
Good to see you. Okay.
Very cool.
All right, guys. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Knight. I mean,
No. I was just saying very cool. It's always great to see the old school crew hanging
Yeah, it
around.
is.
Yep.
yes, it is. Real quick, Paula. Thank you, Paula, sending in a $2 super chat. Much appreciated. Says, I love you guys. Well, we love you too. Absolutely, Paula.
Absolutely.
You're always so faithful. You're always here. We appreciate you. And thanks, Paula, for contributing to the goal of 20
Yeah.
super chats tonight. We got one, and Russell Dorsey's kicking in to the challenge as well. Here's $5.
Right.
Let's get the challenge started. I love that, Russell. Thank you. says, "What's your favorite scary movie?" Yeah, we love it. Hi, Stephen. People Under the Stairs is my favorite. Oh,
I didn't know that.
I did not know that either, Russell. Well, you know
Wow.
what? What a great way to segue into our discussion tonight, because that's on the docket. And before we begin, Neil, because that happens to be Neil's pick for tonight. So we're going to start right off with Neil. And before we do that, though, you know, Knight, sometimes we're always looking to the future, you know, for like home improvement and enhancing our homes and decor.
Of course.
And, you know, there's some inventions that have made it mainstream, and there's some that we haven't ever seen. I think this one probably leans towards the latter, but I'll let you tell me your thoughts, like this situation.
And in the bathroom, something we've never seen before, an electronically disguised toilet.
I mean, you know,
God.
it might work for somebody.
Please tell me that Michael found that for you. Don't tell me that you did. Come on, man.
Sadly, I think it came from Super Tenor. My good old buddy Super Tenor sent that over.
Yeah, that makes sense. Gotta love Super Tenor. Oh my God.
Oh, dang. I love it. Gotta love it. And then lastly, real quick, and certainly not least, a good buddy JT has subscribed now to the channel. And I really appreciate that, JT. Subscribing at the director's level. Wow. I appreciate that, man. That's very generous of you, JT. Thank you, buddy. And I'm going to be reaching out to you one-on-one very soon. I've got something in mind. But thank you so much for that. That's so kind. Thank you, Russell and Paula. We are officially underway. We've got two super chats of our goals. So you guys keep them coming, and I'll be back tomorrow. But tonight, we're talking about, right now at least, the people under the stairs. Neil, I'm going to turn it over to you. Let us know some of your thoughts on the movie, and why was it your pick?
All right. So, yeah, that's what I'm covering tonight. I just got this in recently. This is the 4K UHD version of Wes Craven's The People Under the Stairs. So that's one of the reasons I picked it, is because I wanted to watch it. It's probably the most recent Wes Craven film that I've picked up. Although I did get the 4K Steelbook for Nightmare on Elm Street, so I've got that too.
Beautiful.
Nice.
I figured, when you originally asked me, what Wes Craven film would you like to talk about? I was like, well, I know you want to talk about Scream. If you didn't pick Scream, I would have been like completely, utterly shocked. So I didn't want to take that away from you.
Thank you.
And I knew that Knight would probably want to talk about A Nightmare on Elm Street, because he definitely likes that film. So I went with the less than obvious. My first thought was actually The Last House on the Left. But I wanted to keep it on a happier note.
Yeah,
that movie's kind of hard to talk about.
Yeah.
So I went with The People Under the Stairs, and I'm going to ask you, both of you too, because and I was telling Stephen backstage earlier before you got on, Knight, the other reason why I picked this film is because it has probably been at least 15 years since I've seen it. I've seen it a couple of times. This was probably my third or fourth watch when I picked it up and put it in this afternoon. But it had been over 15 years since I had seen it. And I do remember liking it. But just to tell you how my memory had faded on it, every time I hear The People Under the Stairs, for some reason, Forrest Whitaker's face pops into my mind. And I'm like, that's... While I was watching the opening credits, I was like, well, there's one thing I'm wrong about. Nope, it's Ving Rhames. So, I was like,
although,
I'm definitely off
Forrest
a little
Whitaker,
bit. So
Forrest Whitaker was in Panic Room, though, which is...
That's where I'm thinking of. When I looked it up, I was like, okay, it's Panic Room. So it's a similar type film, but not, completely different than this one. But so how long has it been since you guys saw it, other than just rewatching it for the stream?
Oh man, it's been, I was saying this to Coriander as well. It's been a couple years for me too. I think maybe five-ish years or so. When I was a kid, man, I watched this movie a lot. Like I knew this movie forwards and backwards, and had, I had fun with it. But yeah, it had been about 5 years since I had last watched it, which I was surprised, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What
For
about you,
me,
Stephen?
yeah. Before watching it again for the stream, I think the last time I saw this was probably last summer.
Okay,
So
so
it's
fairly
been
recently then.
fairly recent. Fairly
Mhm.
recent. Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, it'd been 15 years, and this is another thing we were talking about. It's like, well, the reason I don't rewatch some films is not because I don't like them, or there's just so many out there. I mean, you
Yeah.
guys can see the shelves behind me. I mean, I've got I think last count, I've got like 1,200 Blu-rays. So I've got a lot to get through, and because probably half of them I have yet to watch. So, I'm trying to work on that as well. But I'm also a creature of habit. When I pick a movie and I was like, well, I don't want to watch anything new, I'm going to watch something I've already seen before, 100 times. So it just doesn't pop into my head. But now that, I just recently bought it, and I was like, okay, well, this is a good chance to sit down and rewatch this film. But it's like, the thing that I find out is, as I get older and I'll watch, more and more horror films, whether they're older films, newer films, whatever. If I go back and I'll watch something that I've seen before that is, 15, 20 years, even 30 years old, a lot of times I have a brand new appreciation for these films. Let's see, what People Under the Stairs, that was 91 when it came out?
91.
Am I
Yep.
correct? I should have looked it up right before
Yeah.
the stream, but
That's
yeah,
all right.
that's off the top of my head, 1991.
Mhm.
So this film's 40 years old. So, I mean, that's a long time. That's, 3.5 decades. And, going back and watching it again this afternoon, I was like, this is an awesome film. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
Are we getting into spoilers here? Because
Yeah, I think I know some folks that have seen it and haven't seen it in a while, but yeah, I think that we're going to definitely get into spoilers.
okay, well, I will
And so
hold off on it before I get into it. I'm probably not going to give away the ending. But this is one of those films. And now I don't know how many of them came out before 1991, but I know just, the films that I've watched. I have seen quite a few films where people break into a house and they get more than they bargained for.
Mhm.
And that's what this film is about. For the most part, that's the setup for it. But this is a Wes Craven film. He's not going to come in and just do something completely cookie cutter standard.
no.
He's going to change it up a little bit because
That's right.
most of the films that I've seen of this type, I guess probably the most recent one that I can think of is Don't Breathe.
Mhm.
Where they break into the blind man's house to rob him
Yes.
blind.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, I didn't like those people. Even as the movie went on, I finished that film still pulling for that blind man, even though the big reveal was kind of hard to
Yeah.
like him too.
Right.
But going into this, I mean, it doesn't take you 5 minutes before you're behind, this young boy, because he's in a bad situation.
Mhm.
He's there he is right there. I forget the actor's name.
Brandon
he's very
Adams.
much an adult now, though.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
But
played
anyway,
Fool. Yeah.
yeah, Fool is his name, and the
Mhm.
reason that is he's got an older sister that is into tarot cards, and of course, the Fool is a tarot card, and that's what she ended up calling him, and the name kind of stuck, so everybody calls him Fool. Well, he and his family are getting evicted from their apartment. Now, they're very poor. They have absolutely no money. And their mom is also sick with cancer. And one of the things that we learn later on in the film, because that's one of the things that this film does, the further you get into it, the more you find out about what's actually going on. She has a cancer, and it's terminal, but it's one that's easily removed, but they have no money.
Mhm.
And that's another theme that this movie kind of, picks up and runs with a little bit. It's just the disparity, even in this country, it's supposed to be the greatest country on earth, but there's people that, literally are dying because they don't have any money in this
Right.
country. And I think Wes wanted to say a little something about that in this
Yep.
film. So that's their situation. And they've got to be out like tomorrow at midnight. And Ving Rhames' character, he comes in. And it's basically like, well, we found out where your landlord lives. And of course, he's doing this kind of thing all over the city. They're the last tenants in the building, and he wants them out so he can tear the building down and build some nice condominiums and make a lot more money.
Right.
But Ving Rhames' character has figured out, where this landlord lives, and there's also a rumor that they have a lot of gold coins that they could steal. So that's why they're breaking into this guy's house. And it's not just him. It's his. Well, at first you think it's his wife, but they end up being brother and sister, and that's where the movie gets really weird.
Yeah, just a little.
but they get in this house with the intention of finding these gold coins and stealing them, and then being able to have enough money to move somewhere else to better their position. So even though what they're doing is illegal, it's immoral, it's not the right thing to do, you're fully behind them 100%.
Right.
And the thing that I really liked about this film is Fool. I mean, he's kind of like Reggie the Reckless. You can't help but love this little kid. He is absolutely, you are in his corner 100%. I mean, sure, he's breaking into somebody's house to rob them blind, but it's like, you go, kid, let's go find that money the whole time. And of course, they get in the house and they find out that, it's a little bit more going on inside that house than what they were bargaining for.
And Neil, I'm going to interrupt right here because it's a perfect time, because something else that is that we all support, and there's someone knocking at the door wanting to get into the house right now to talk about People Under the Stairs with you, Neil, and with us as a panel and the audience. So guys, I would like to bring on a very special guest. He is, I'm proud to say now, a friend of mine, and I really mean that. Like, we actually do talk fairly often in one format or another. And he not only is a great guy, he's a cast member from People Under the Stairs.
Oh, awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the channel. It's the guy from Dream Warriors. It's the guy from People Under the Stairs who does some amazing, vicious work as one of the people. It's my buddy. It's Bill Perry. Bill, so thank you so much for coming tonight.
What's going on, party people?
Hey, just so you know, I did not tell Neil that you were going to be here, and Nia, I didn't say either. I
You
didn't
should never warn people. If you warn people, they run off. It's really, I'm glad to take the show over. I've had to do it before, but if you warn people, it just, we get a few minutes before they just get tired of my crap.
Well, hey, listen, before we get back to the film and discussing it, I want to just share a picture of Bill. And Bill, when I rewatched again the movie this week, and I saw you crash through the wall, I'm like, there he is. There's my buddy. I said, there he is. And here he is, guys. You may recognize, if you've seen the movie a lot, you're going to recognize him. He's on a very focus on a very important scene where he tries to go after Mommy's legs, and here he is. There he is. There's Bill in full costume.
Heck yeah!
It's at the climax of the film.
That is a Polaroid that they took for me. They do these when you're doing the shot. If you have to come back the next day or any other time, they want to make sure they got everything just so. So they they take these Polaroid pictures, and I said, hey, can I get one of those? Little did I know I'd hang on to that thing for 38 years or whatever long it's been. But
so glad you did.
That's me in what we like to call scrotum wear, the mask on the top there. Lord knows where the skin came from. We make our choices. But yeah, it was very, very fun. And so I actually had that mask fell apart, of course, over the years, but I had a replica made by one of the guys that won Face Off. So I actually have,
nice.
And he found the guy also just happens to be from Cleveland, Ohio. And he did the research, talked to the guy who originally made those pieces, and they weren't made for us individually. They were made for just any cast member that needed to do it. And so, but he found the original guy who also just happens to be a neighbor of his, and they made that up. And he says, you're not going to be able to see through this. I said, good, and see through it then. So
no difference, right?
Yeah, I mean, the eyes are actually, one's up here, one's down there. And but it's funny to wear it because it gives me back hair, which is also.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, it's kind of fun to
Oh.
look at. I haven't seen the movie in a very long time, and there's been sort of this resurgence of interest in it, like tonight.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
people who haven't seen it or people who haven't seen it in a long time. So I had to go back and watch and go, oh yeah, that's what that did.
Well, one of the things
lot
that I
of fun.
noticed when I was watching it this afternoon, and it's good to know that's who the character you were playing is, because there's one scene where you're kind of in the shadow, and
Mhm.
the thing that I immediately thought of, I was like, oh, that dude looks like the creature from the Black Lagoon. The way that the light is hitting just the side of your mask and everything,
Yep.
it's so much in shadow that you can't really see any features. It's just the outline of it. But that's what it reminded me of, and I thought that was pretty cool because
Yeah, always much scarier it's much scarier to leave it unseen. You see the shadows, you see things going, whizzing by real quick and making, kind of weird, unintelligible sounds. Much scarier than showing it to you too early.
Right,
I think Wes really wanted to leave the grand sort of what all the different people could look like, depending on whatever their crime against mommy was, whether that's, talking too much like
Roach.
Sean's character, or like Roach's character, or
Right. Roach.
gouging out eyes. You went to go see something you shouldn't have seen, and But yeah, a lot of fun to watch again. It's been, like I say, such a long time. Recently, I've had the opportunity to see some of the movies that I've been in on a big screen. There's this
Mhm.
call to people who are like, "Hey, I want to see this on a big screen. I want to see it with a
Yeah.
lot of people."
Yeah.
And there's something
Yes.
very, very different about being in a movie theater and recognizing that they laughed at the right place, or they didn't, or they cheer, they cheer the bad guy on, or they cheer the with this particular movie. Once somebody's getting munched, they're cheering the people. They're cheering the flesh eaters, which I think is very funny because it's just. Because, when you first saw it, of course, you might not have done that. But now that you've seen it 6 times, 12 times, 100 times, you're like, yeah, get that girl down, munch her down. Get that, I have my own problems with the UPS guy. So, deliver my packages better. Maybe I won't be so negative on you. But
Oh,
That's
God. Well, and Neil was just sharing with us. I know you came in for some of it. Was kind of walking us through, kind of his review, his thoughts on the movie. So, Neil, why don't you continue that, and then Bill, if you want to interject at any point, I know you only have limited time to be with us. So, if there's something you want to jump in, it's totally cool. I know Neil won't mind, and
No,
we're
not at
honestly we're privileged to have you here. It's very, very
Absolutely.
cool.
Yeah.
So,
always
Absolutely.
awesome to be here.
thank you, brother. All right, Neil, I'll get back to you, sir.
Sure. And one of the things I was saying, it had been 15 years since I'd seen this film. And one of the things that I'd kind of forgotten about it is that there is a lot of comedy in this film, but not to the point that I would call this a horror comedy. I mean, this isn't Tucker and Dale versus Evil or anything like that. There was never any question in my mind the entire time I was watching this film that, yes, I am watching a horror film.
Yeah.
But it's like a perfect blend. I mean, there's enough horror there, for the people that really like, horror films, but there's enough comedy there. And I grew up in the 80s, watching slasher films, and there's a lot of humor in slasher films that, if you don't watch a lot of them, you may not know that, but there is. But the movie never got to the point where you were just like, okay, well, that was stupid. It was always, like you said, watching people's reactions to it. They're laughing at it at the right moment. They're not laughing at it when they shouldn't be laughing. But there were definitely some very comical scenes in it. Either just a reaction from one of the characters, or one, part of the dialogue,
Yes.
and it was just a wonderful time watching the film again. And it made me, think, it was like, well, why the hell did I wait so long to rewatch this film? So it's
Because you have
going to go into the
18,000 of them.
rotation.
Didn't you say you had 18,000 of these damn things?
No,
I
it's
don't know
not
how long
quite
you
that
plan
many.
on living. You better get. You should get off right now. Get in there. Start watching stuff because you're not going to get there.
Oh
Oh,
my
I
god.
watch a ton of movies,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's definitely going to go into a more regular rotation now.
Mhm. Mhm.
Once every 3 or 4 years, I'm sure. So yeah, I
I'm
definitely had a
interested.
great time.
There's been some talk for the last year or so, maybe even longer, about Jordan Peele doing a
Yes.
remake.
Yes.
I don't know
Yep.
if you guys already talked about that, but
No, not yet.
I'm
Mhm.
such a huge Jordan Peele fan, and he brings. I mean, there's the racial tension element of the film,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
I think I love the way that he doesn't explain everything, and he kind of
Mhm.
makes you think for another hour after the film's over with, like, what was the significance of, and so I really look forward to his take on it, because being a
Mm.
black person, he's going to
Right.
have you know a point of view that Wes could never have. And
Mm.
so I look forward to it. Some films, whenever somebody talks about making a remake, I think, what for? What was this
Right.
film missing?
True.
What could have
Wow.
been better? And it's
Mm.
tough to improve on Wes. Hasn't been done as far as I can tell, as far as I've seen.
No,
Um,
me either.
so, but I look at Jordan Peele and go, yeah, but see, he's going to bring something new and different and weird and funky, and he's going to dig into the psychology of it a little bit, and he's going to play with the themes of it a little, maybe a little more dark. So this
Right.
one could be all right. I hate to say that. I get my hopes up. I'm always thrown into the garbage after I get my hopes up for a remake. But we'll see what he can do. I really like Jordan, so I'll be interested to see how dark and how weird and how scary he goes, and whether he
Sure.
just takes the premise and throws the rest into the garbage, or if he says, no, I'm going to take, he's not going to do the script over again, but I think he'll
Yeah.
he'll probably stick pretty carefully to it, because kind of crapping in your own bed if you try to
Right.
rewrite Wes.
Don't
Yeah.
do that. Oh
Yeah.
man. Well,
But I think he's
wait,
also got the comedy background too, to actually put that
Yeah.
comedy in
Clearly.
there
right.
and make
Mhm.
it correct.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. That's one of his best talents, I think, because to do comedy like he does, you have to have good timing, just like in horror. And
Yeah.
he's shown in his films that he's got really good timing of when to hold that tension, when to let it go, when to let you breathe, when to have you focus, when to confuse you, and all those different types of things. So this is one of the few times for me as well where I'm like, yeah, I want to see what he does, and obviously Wes is one of my favorite directors ever in any genre. But this is that one time where I'm so curious that I'm like, yeah, I think he could. The great thing about it, like you said, Bill, he's not gonna copy Wes. He's gonna bring something that is creative that maybe Wes wouldn't have had in his arsenal. But I think he'll still honor and respect Wes because he's such a big fan of OG horror. He's a big fan of directors like Wes and
Mhm.
Carpenter and all of those. So it'll be cool to see, I think.
Well, something Wes said to me one time. We were talking about scary movies, and he said, if you were to walk in and you didn't look at the screen, you walked into a movie theater, you never look at the screen, you're not even actually listening, and you were to look at the audience and just watch their reactions, it's very difficult to tell whether they're watching a horror movie or a comedy, because every good scare comes with oh my God, that was so effed up, and that release of that tension, the release of that, anxiety from watching that scene is usually a laugh. And so a good horror film kind of has that same thing. And then that timing that you talked about that Jordan Peele has from all the comedy that he's done really plays into that, because you can't just continually just, be cutting people in half with chainsaws. It's boring. And it doesn't give people a
That's
chance
right.
to absorb what they've seen and care about characters. So you have to give them that tension, release them, let them get that nervous laugh out of the way so that you can set them up for the next one. And that's the same with comedy. One punchline after the next. There's no setup after a while. And it's like, you just don't, it's hard, for the person to digest. So I think Jordan Peele jumping in and taking that on, yeah, he's going to have some gifts and strategies that Wes may never have had.
Well, while we have Bill with us for just literally a few more minutes, not tonight, if you have a question for Bill, send your super chat in now 'cause he's not going to be able to stay all night with us. Okay, he's got some other business to tend to. So he made time for us, which is so generous of you, Bill. And so,
And Russell's got a question right there.
and Russell has a
What-
question. So
What
I
was
wanted
it
to
like
bring
to star in an
Yeah.
iconic film that People
Mhm.
Under the Stairs? I'm kind of nervous about People Under the Stairs, the remake. Yeah, what it was like at the time. Wes was a buddy. I'd worked on a couple of shows with him already. We had common friends, and so working with Wes was always fun because Wes was a very thoughtful person. He loved to scare people, and he was like a kid in a candy store. Yeah, I've said this before. It was like he had little Barbies, and it's like, okay, now you guys go over here and do this, and he had sets, and he had people, and he had all the lights and the special effects, and he had imagined all this already. And so now it was finally time to play with the toys.
That's
It was time to
awesome.
put the actors together, put the costumes and the makeup and the effects and all that. And so he was ran a very friendly set, as much as it was dark and scary as a storyline. Wes was not dark and scary. He was very funny, wicked sense of humor, and a delivery that made you feel like, oh wait, should I be laughing at that? Oh shit, yes, okay, yeah, all right, damn it, because he'd get you, because he knew that you had to be, everybody was trying to be serious, trying to be professional around him, and then he'd, take a shot at you and play with you a little bit and take the room down. Take that tension, take that fear, take that apprehension about being in a Wes Craven movie, and kind of, bury it, let you
That's
have some fun again, and then you can come back to it. So, having been in it was, a huge honor working with Wes. I did 3 shows with Wes, and I was also his web developer later after I got out of the business. So, just one of those, really gentle, super intelligent, funny people that you don't come across often in life. So absolutely
Awesome.
a great honor.
So
I
cool.
didn't realize it was such an honor until later, because it was like, that's just Wes.
Wow, and that's all. Yeah.
The best people are
Yeah.
that way. If they impress you too much, then you get nervous. Wes always liked to take away that sense of royalty, and let you talk to him like like another creative. He liked everybody to feel like they could do their best work. And the only way you can't do your best work when you're scared shitless. You're too worried about screwing up. You're not going to do something interesting. You're going to do exactly what you think you're supposed to do, and that's never interesting. So Wes really liked to give you a chance to play around a little bit.
That's awesome. Wow, such insight that that you're just not going to find unless you were there, and that's so cool, Bill. And you were friends. Now, Knight, I'd like just while Bill's here and Neil, has been talking about the movie. Tell us your thoughts on The People Under the Stairs. I want to give you a chance to kind of share what you thought about the film in general.
Well, I think it's a fun film. I was saying that when I was watching it, just rewatching it. I was saying it to Coriander. I said, this film is it's fun, but it also had some things that Wes was saying, which I thought was really cool. And he's one of the few directors that can balance those things. We were talking about balance with Jordan Peele, but obviously Wes could do that too very well. And, he was saying so much about, just society and those that are poverty stricken and all of those things. But he did it in a way where it was intelligent, and it kind of sometimes just sneaks up on you, and then he's moving on. He's not like hammering you over the head. As a kid, I understood it. Like, I saw this film when I was pretty darn young, and I got everything that he was saying, so I could relate to it as a kid. And obviously over the years I've watched it many times, but with this latest rewatch, kind of like what Neil said in the beginning, I appreciated it on such a different level. As an adult, and also obviously as a content creator. And I was just really impressed with how he was like navigating all of these things and still giving us horror, because this film, like Neil said, it definitely has some great horror in it. I mean, Everett McGill was fantastic, as he always is, and Wendy Roby as mommy, she was great. I mean, as a kid, they scared the crap out of me. They really did. And now as an adult, they scare me in a different way, because you realize that these are things that do happen in the world and that have happened in the world. And it's a scary, scary thought.
True.
They were in this house that was just so cut off from the world
Yep.
that justice couldn't even invade it. And even when it did, they had the game plan, to hide things and to look like a normal, quote unquote, family, which they weren't, of course. But
Right.
I don't know anymore. Yeah.
Right.
That's great.
I mean, it's not Ozzy and Harriet, but is it that far up anymore?
That's true. It's so true. But yeah, man, I really enjoy this film. It's a fun film. This is one of those movies that can, like I said, operate in a lot of ways for us that have watched it over the years, but also maybe for a newer horror fan, someone that's just getting their feet wet into horror. This could be a fun, as they call it, gateway type of horror. So yeah, bravo to Wes. It's a fun one in his filmography. It's very unique in a way too.
Yes.
And I appreciated that. I really did.
Yeah.
We did a panel at a convention with the other actors, and somebody had brought up that the character of Fool was not only really the most prominent Black person in a horror film, he's the only one to survive.
Mhm.
And he lived. Yes.
We had
Mhm.
talked about how that was really unique,
Mhm.
and it was, and he kind of went, you're right. He hadn't really thought about it that much before. And it was, it was kind of an interesting thing because, I mean, I think it's Scream 2, they have the opening scene where Black people don't even go to horror films, and,
Mhm.
some stupid, person. And, again, another West thing where he liked to play with the contemporary notions of what a horror film could be and how they laid out. And he apparently saw something missing there and said, why is that? Let's do that. Let's go that route and see what we get. And I think that was kind of just Wes's way of just not just staying relevant or trying to, pander to the crowd, but to explore it and say, that is something we don't see. Let's go there.
Well said.
Yeah, very well said. Very well said. So guys, we've only got about 5 minutes left with Bill tonight.
I have actually 10. Let's go crazy.
Wow, we are gonna go crazy. Okay,
I'm gonna speed like an idiot where I'm going, just so I can spend 5 more minutes here. If I kill people, that's okay with me. I've eaten them. Now let's run them down.
There we go. I love it.
I don't want to take up your guys' time either. So kick me out anyway.
That's totally cool. That's totally cool. All right, Neil. So I'll kind of kick it back to you again. This was your movie choice tonight, so I want to make sure you get some more time to talk about it before we move on to Nightmare.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that it really stood out to me this afternoon when I was watching it, and it really doesn't surprise me again that this was something that Wes Craven did. You just think about the title. Like if you didn't know anything about this film and you're going to sit down and watch it, it's called The People Under the Stairs, and you find out, okay, these people are going to break into this house, and it's the people under the stairs that's going to, be the problem.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't call it a bait and switch, but he kind of gets you thinking one way, and you realize that the monsters in this movie are not under the stairs. And not only that, until the final act, they're really just a minor subplot in the film. They're, you don't really get to see them. You know that they're there. But there's really nothing in the, the first 2/3 of this movie that would even make you think that they're dangerous until you get to the final act and you realize, well, they are dangerous, but they're not the people you need to fear. It's the, the mommy and daddy are the people that you need to fear in this film.
My gosh. Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
and
good point, Neil. Actually, that's
yeah. So just the title of it makes you start. It's Wes setting you up to make you think this is what I'm gonna get, and then he's like, nope. And the more this movie goes on, the crazier it gets. I mean, this house is insane. You alluded to it, Bill. It's just there's secret passages. I mean, it's one of those houses that's old enough where the walls were far enough apart that you can actually walk between them. I mean, that's a real thing. They used to build houses like that a long time ago.
So cool.
And they've got little, they can come out in a cupboard in the kitchen, under the sink. I mean, they can get into the walls from anywhere. It kind of makes you wonder. It's like, how in the world did they ever keep these people under the stairs in the first place? But obviously they couldn't. One of them got out. He just couldn't get out of the house. I mean, it's like the glass is like shatterproof. It's soundproof. I mean, he runs around half the movie firing a shotgun that apparently holds about 700 rounds.
I know, right?
That's right.
And nobody hears it, because
it's not a documentary. Don't be counting.
They reloaded. They just didn't bother to show it. I mean, that's
he was reloading when we were looking elsewhere.
We were looking somewhere else. He was putting another 6 shells in there. So.
Right.
But yeah, just the movie gets crazier and crazier, and you start learning more and more about what's going on. You learn who the people under the stairs are, and that's just as disturbing as everything you've seen up to that point. It just gets more and more disturbing if you really start, thinking about it. Because again, this isn't a heavy horror film, but if you kind of digest what you're learning as you go along, it's like these people are seriously effed up.
Yep.
And,
it took you a while to get there?
Really? At what point during the film did you finally go, brother and sister having sex?
Well, you don't learn the brother and sister until, like halfway through the film. But yeah, I mean, it's like the first time, when you meet them, it's like, okay, yeah, these people there's something not right with these people. But like I said, it just gets worse. It's just like every 5 minutes, it's like, and that they're doing that too. It's like, and their brother and sister. Oh, that's nasty. I mean, you're just, just going through, learning just how screwed up these people are. And that just makes you pull for a fool all that much more.
All the way.
Yep.
And you know what's funny? Is like, to Neil's point, you got these people doing these horrific acts, just depravity throughout every function in their head that they do. And then the lady, and I love how Wes is. I thought it's better when I watched it again. I was like, I laughed and I said, Wes just knows how to nail the subtleties, because all this horrible things. And what is she worried about at the end of the movie? She's worried about cursing. So she says something like,
caca.
Oh shoot, caca. I'm like, that's what you're worried about. That's what she's concerned about, is cursing right now.
Right.
I just thought that was so great that Wes put that. It's like, because he's reflecting to us again the insanity of, what really matters in this situation.
Limits are love. You got to raise kids right.
You do. You do.
You do.
You got one shot at it.
You blind them. It's what we do.
Now, Bill,
sacrifices have to be made sometimes.
Hey, you know what, Knight? You're right. But no, I'm kidding. But you know what I will say? I would love to have one of those houses with the switches. I think it's the coolest thing.
It is cool.
I wouldn't have people under the stairs, but I just want that house. Oh gosh.
We might need to do one of those welfare checks.
Maybe
somebody buy Steve's place and make sure everything's
every now and then just come by. But Jason, I didn't lose it, But Bill, real quick, I showed this picture earlier. I know we got like 5 minutes with you. So did this picture bring back any memories? Because I saw you smiling in the backstage when I showed it.
Well, it's funny. I'm going to be seeing these guys again in Ohio in September. And it's one of those things, you just see how young you were, how skinny you were. Brandon is about 6'4", I'm going to say 210 and solid. He's not heavy. He's a big guy now. And Sean actually looks fairly similar. He's holding up well. But you just kind of look at these things, and Wes hanging out with everybody. Was his way. He didn't want anybody to feel intimidated, and kids especially. You're going to be intimidated by an adult, especially an adult that's the director. So there's a level of
Bill. He's sitting here eating with them. How cool is that?
Yeah. And I think a very intentional thing. He wanted them to feel comfortable enough that he could allow them to play and enjoy, and they wouldn't take him so seriously that they were intimidated by him, and that they saw him more as a friend who's got a great idea and let's play. And that was very much Wes's way. He was, as much as he was not a trained director per se, the way other people might have been, he knew how to work with actors. And that's a really, really important thing, because, knowing the lenses to use and the lighting and all that other stuff is certainly necessary. But if you can't get the performances out of your actors that you want, it's a waste of time. And so Wes's gift, above all, from my experience, was his ability to put you at ease and then find a way and say, what do I got to do to get you from where you are here to where you need to be there? What's going to work? What do what can I work with you? And he would, a good person to read people and recognize what it was. If I need to get you scared to death, if I need to get you angry, what do I got to do to put you in that place? And that was really his gift beyond. I mean, it's always, you can find a good director of photography out there. Can you find a person that really knows how to work with people, right? And can draw a performance out of somebody who may not even know what's in there, and that was really his gift in that way.
Wow. Well, this has been great, Bill. And I'll before you head out, I'm going to just put this up here. The super chat from DJ. What's up, DJ? Thanks for the $5 super chat. Says, because we were talking about the Jordan Peele possibility, but what if they were to do a prequel of the movie instead, not a sequel or a remake, focusing on the people that were under the stairs? Like, what would you be up for something like that, Bill?
I think that would be a great idea, because one of the things is you really don't know how they got there. How did they come? Because you hear inklings about what they, how they got there, and but I think seeing the first few kids that they tried to adopt, or whatever you want to call it, that's a freaking scary story. I mean, one of the great things Wes does is he takes things that are inherently scary to you, regardless of your culture, regardless of your upbringing, and the idea of being abducted as a child, and being raised by somebody, the horrible parent, or the person that didn't and that fear of misbehaving and what that meant. It's
very terrifying.
Very, very terrifying. And I think if you went that way, of course, it would be much darker. There'd be probably a lot less humor, but who knows if they'd ever get it made. It's such a triggery, scary, sort of thing. A lot of people might go, I don't think you play with that territory anymore. There's enough in the news of, some house of horrors where some, person was abducted and kept for 10 years and, never allowed outside. You see enough of that. Maybe that'd be a little too intense, but I'd watch it.
Yeah, man.
I would too.
Director makes it.
Yes. Well, DJ, thanks for your super chat to help the channel out, and it was a great thought to give us something to think about of a possible.
Yeah, people.
prequel.
There's a super chat goal. Get on it, people.
Thank you, buddy.
This ain't free. Let's get to it.
That's right. We're working
I am
hard
going to have
here.
to jam out, guys. But it's been so great talking to you. Keep
too,
going.
Bill.
Always a great conversation with you guys. Have some fun tonight. Everybody else out there, if you haven't clicked that subscribe, I know where you live, and you know what I'm capable of. I'm just saying.
That's very true.
Coming for you.
I've got addresses and I got an appetite. That's all it takes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Look at that.
There he is.
I didn't get this fat, just eating pork chops. I know where you live.
That's awesome. Bill,
Thanks,
seriously,
guys.
brother, thank you
Always
so
good to
much
see
for
you.
this. This was very
thanks
generous
so
of you
much.
too. Thank you,
Well,
man.
Thank you.
soon.
Talk
Thank you.
soon.
Bye-bye.
All right, good night. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed our wonderful time with Bill. He's always such a gentleman, such a great guy, and I it's like, you know what? Since we're doing people under the stairs, how can I not at least ask him? Have to do it, and
Yep.
Well, I'm glad he said
So-
yes.
I am too. Such a cool guy.
He is.
And real quick, just to get us caught up before we get into A Nightmare on Elm Street, of course, we could spend literally 2 hours on one movie. I mean, that wouldn't even break a sweat. But we'll keep moving for time's sake. All right. But that was great. Jeff sent in a super chat of $5. Jeff Hill, thank you, my friend, for doing that. And you're trying to help us get to that 20 super chat goal. If you guys want the reward challenge, if you want to win the reward challenge, I'll be back tomorrow night. So if you guys want to do it, I'll leave it up to you. All right. I'll let you make the decision, but I appreciate Jeff, the support either way. And Jeff also says, I'm going to gift a membership. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate that. And my good friend M over at Horror, Horror, I had her on the channel a couple weeks ago for the first time. And she's a lot of fun. She's great. I'll definitely be having her back in the future. But she got the membership. So that's awesome. So congrats to him. And thank you, Jeff, for supporting the channel. And we have a channel anniversary I want to cover really quick. It is my good friend, the Queen, Sarah, with 26 months, guys, of being a channel member.
Awesome, Sarah.
All right.
Wow, over 2 years, Sarah, of faithful support every month. Thank you so much. Happy to spend another evening with friends. Same here. Much, much appreciated. It's always great to have you. And of course, Sarah's one of my, as you guys all know, one of my moderators, along with Julie, Val, and Mayanne. They do such a great job. And Sarah, thank you for posting the links for Bill tonight. I really appreciate that. And one last thing for right now, but super chats are coming in. Keep them coming, guys. I much appreciate it. And we have one here from Hollywood Guide helping out with the goal tonight, the reward challenge. Says, thanks for your $2 super chat. I do appreciate that, man. Craven, I just want to say thanks for being you. Oh, well, that's nice. Thank you, buddy. I really, it means a lot to me. Thank you so much, man. You know, I always tell Knight, and Knight, I think we both share this same dialogue often. These are the kind of things that really put fuel in our tanks.
Yep.
These encourage me. It really means a lot. So.
It does. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, again, that support, man, it's just, it inspires you, you know, it helps to shield you from all the ups and downs that we face as content creators.
Yeah, that's right. I couldn't have said it better myself. And Wayne Turner's heading out. I just caught this, so I'll say goodbye to Wayne. Wayne, you take care, buddy. Always good to see you from the down under. And last but not least, we got another super chat. Jeff coming in with a $10 super chat to support the channel. Thank you, Jeff. And he says, great interview. Oh, well, we you know, and I want to thank Neil also and Knight. You know, it contributed to the Bill's time here. It was all the group effort, and you in the chat contributed. So it's really, it's all the way around a community interview. So thank you, Jeff. That's very kind. And I really appreciate, again, your generosity. And before we close up People Under the Stairs and shift over to Knight's choice for tonight, real quick, I'm going to play super chat because, you know, it's what we do, right, Knight? It's what we do.
That's what we do. That's what we do. Those are the rules.
Those are the rules. It's what we do. All right. So, you know, I showed you a futuristic toilet earlier that some may be interested in. But you know what? How about this, Neil? I'll tell you, I'll refer this one to you. Wouldn't it be kind of wild if you had a recliner in your house that you could sit down and just not only sit, but get some real movement? And sometimes you just don't want to walk the dog. I don't know if you guys have dogs. Sometimes it's like, I don't feel like doing this, but you got to do it. Wouldn't it be cool if you had let's just say a companion to walk that dog for you? Let's, you know, maybe.
I'm scared to find out.
Yeah, I'm scared to show you, actually. Here we go, guys. Here we go, guys. For all the super chats and the gifted memberships up to this point, here you go.
Here's the perfect invention for Ben himself. An easy chair for the guy who just can't sit still. Haroff is 6 feet 8 inches tall, weighs 275 pounds, and even has a small vocabulary.
Let's go, Benji. Come on, Benj. Let's go.
He is, however, a domestic and so has a difficult time with the great outdoors. That's the first time we've ever seen a dog curb.
Dude, he's going off about to fall over. Oh my gosh.
No. That's horrible.
Wow. Coming soon for you for only $24,999.
Oh, is that all?
That's it.
Oh,
That's
shit,
all
let me
that's
get
down.
2 of them.
Oh Lord. Very spooky, Julie said. I agree. Yes, the
That's
Fun Man
beyond
robot.
spooky.
Yes, that's it is. All right. So Neil, real quick, because I know we're on it. We're on. You know, we got some time restraints. I want to make sure Diane has lots of time for all of us to discuss. Last closing thoughts on People Under the Stairs. How would you rate it? Not that we're really doing that tonight, but just curious. If you had to rate your enjoyment of the film, just your enjoyment of the film from 1 to 5 stars, where would you personally put it?
I would give it a 4.5.
Nice.
Because you know, Scream and Nightmare are going to get 5s from me, and it's not on that level.
Nice, right?
But as far as, you know, comparing it to other Wes Craven films,
okay,
it's in my top 5. I mean, it really is. It's been a while since I've seen some of Wes's films, and to be honest, you know, I don't like to speak ill of the dead, but Wes has got some films that I really don't like.
Okay, all right, that's fair. Okay,
but there's not a lot of them. I mean, you know, he was a
Yeah.
brilliant director, and he changed the face of horror for sure.
Yeah.
But you know, my top 5 or 6 are going to be, you know, Scream and Nightmare. Last House on the Left is one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah.
The Hills Have Eyes is one of my favorites.
Ooh,
and
gosh, yeah.
People Under the Stairs. I also like New Nightmare. I know that went over a
Yes.
lot of people's heads, but I do personally like that film.
Love that.
And the Scream sequels that he directed too. But I just kind of lump all those together because I really,
Scream, right?
it's kind of hard for me to say I like Scream 2 less than I like Scream 1. It really
Yeah.
is, but I just kind of
It's true.
think of them all as the same film, just one long film. So yeah, and I guess so I would put this over Last House on the Left, and over The Hills Have Eyes.
Wow,
Just
very
because those
good.
2 movies, you got to be in a mood to watch those.
Lord, you
I
have
can
to
watch
prepare
this
yourself, Neil, to watch those.
Yes,
Really,
you do. You
Yep.
do.
Okay.
So yeah,
All right.
and didn't Wes direct Swamp Thing too?
Yes, he sure did. 1983.
Okay, so that's another one of my favorites. I really like that too.
That
Even though I
nobody
probably
ever
hadn't seen
talks
it in 15 years. Yeah, nobody.
I haven't
talks
either.
about it.
Nobody
If
talks
I had
about
a
it.
copy of it, I may have picked that one just so I could, you know, see Adrienne Barbeau again. But
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yes.
She had a thing going. Let me tell you, back
yeah,
in the day.
she did.
She really
Anyway.
did. She really,
but,
really did.
Yeah, so
Okay.
those are my favorite Wes Craven films. So it's up
Nice.
there with them. It's just not quite
Okay.
at the top.
Nope, fair enough. All right, guys, we're going to move now to discuss another Wes Craven. I consider this to be a Wes Craven masterpiece personally. And we're going to talk now about, of course, well, I shouldn't have shown that. Night, you tell us, even though I've already leaked it, you tell us what was your pick to talk about tonight as one of your favorites.
Well, I don't think it's any surprise for anyone that knows me. You know, growing up in the '80s and being a big fan of the big three, and of course behind me you see the poster. I mean, there's a
right
reason.
there.
There's a reason I have this poster, you know,
Yes.
prominently placed there. It's the original Elm Street, and guys, man, I'm telling you, this is a movie. You know, it's one of a couple of movies that really just kind of locked me in on my horror journey as a young kid. And Freddy Krueger obviously is one of the most popular horror villains, horror icons ever. I mean, I can honestly say that with no bias, you know, looking at it when I was a kid, looking at it when I was, you know, a teenager, and looking at it now as an adult, and especially as a content creator, and just thinking about the history of horror. You know, I truly think that, you know, Freddy was he's just on a different level, you know, and I say that as a, you know, as a Jason guy in general, you know, that, you know, I love Michael, but you know what Elm Street was able to do for horror, I think was unparalleled. And I don't think it's been touched since, but the film itself, I think, is just so creative. I still think it's one of the most imaginative ideas ever for a horror film. It's almost, it's so imaginative. Sometimes when I sit back and think about it, and I've talked about it a lot, whether it's streams and, videos, when we ranked it for the great debates, sometimes I sit back and I think to myself, it's so simple. How was this not taken before Wes, put it out there?
Insane, right? I know.
It's so creative, but yet so freaking simple. And, the truth of it is, Wes tried to get this thing done for years.
Sure did.
No studio wanted to touch it. Nobody. They didn't think it would be scary because it's not real. It's in your dreams. And fortunately for Wes and for all of us as horror fans, whether you're a big fan of Elm Street or not, we all should be thankful. In my opinion, my humble opinion. Fortunately, Bob Shea of New Line Cinema, he said, okay, here's the check. Let's do this thing.
Let's do it. Yep.
And from there on out, they were off to the races. And it's a film also, and I'm going to be ranting because you guys.
Hey, it's okay, buddy.
You guys know I love this freaking movie, but there was lightning in a bottle multiple times, I think, because I think New Line at that time, New Line was the right place for it to land because they were up and coming, they were hungry, they were ambitious. You know what I'm saying? Like they were seeing a bigger picture, even in some respects that Wes didn't. And Wes even, talked about that, as it became a franchise, that was not his intent, right or wrong. I mean, this film definitely could stand on its own, but I am glad that, it continued and shaped horror as it did. And obviously the careers of the great Robert Englund and so forth. But I think it was the right studio. Wes was the right director. I think the cast was fantastic. You had nobody even knew who a Johnny Depp was. And even in a small role that he had, he popped. You know what I'm saying? Even as a kid, I was like, oh yeah, Glenn. Yeah. He just, and you guys know as well as anyone, in horror movies, it's easy to forget a character. It's easy to not pay attention to a character because they just don't pop. Now,
that's right.
Yeah, I mean, the story has to be good and the dialogue has to be good, but the actor has to be good. They have to pop. So you had, you had a great cast, you had a great lead in Heather, who was just that next door neighbor girl, the everyday girl.
Yep, that's right.
With intelligence and wit. She was just so charismatic. And of course, Robert Englund. I mean, again, such an important figure in horror. So there was a lot of lightning in the bottle with this film. And I love it because of the creativity. It's so gritty and real. When it starts off and it shows you Freddy, crafting the glove. I'll never forget when I first saw this movie. That scared me, because it's so dirty, and you can kind of hear Robert breathing that, and that the music is on and he's like scraping on the metal of the glove. And when he turns it like that, I'm like, oh God. I mean, it's crazy.
Yes.
It's absolutely crazy. Just the simplicity of it. And, anyways, I'm not going to keep ranting, but it's a smart movie. And I love the way it just goes on this journey. And you can't help but take the ride. It's got all these little winks and nods as well to horror, because obviously we know Wes was a student of horror. He loved horror. He loved those who came before him. You're following Tina, played by the great Amanda Weiss. I'm on board with this chick. And I'm like, yeah. And next thing you know, 15 minutes into the movie, she has one of the most impressive deaths in horror, even to this day. And now I'm following Nancy. Yeah, that scene still gets me, man. I just watched it just the other day to refresh. That scene still gets me.
Me too. It does me too. I like almost like just not wither, right? What's it called when you're just kind of like, oh, like you're, you know what I mean? That there's a
writhing?
word for it. Writhing. Yeah, maybe that's the right word.
Cringing,
and just like you just don't want to look at the screen almost. It's just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And Knight, before we get Neil's comments on the movie, I'm not trying to interrupt you, but while we're on this scene, this, I think we need to stop for just a minute before we move forward with your commentary, because this scene is special. I know you, and I'd love for you to share, and Neil, that you're free to pipe in as well as I may. Tell us what made this, in terms of what am I trying to say? Not only the content of the screen, which we're looking at is horrifying, but how the actual scene was made. That's what I'm getting at.
Oh,
let's talk about that for just a minute.
The rotating room, upside down,
wasn't it?
Yeah, they had a rotating room, and Amanda actually got sick, because of just being so disoriented. And just like he's done many times before, as he did in Swamp Thing as well, he got right in. He had the thigh highs on, and he was right in the dirty water with the crew helping out.
Yep.
And he actually, because everything was upside down, and he actually came onto the set and was trying to calm Amanda Wise, who played Tina, trying to calm her down, because she was so freaked out from the disorientation, and this, stuff like this scene is what I love so much about 80s horror, because it looks fantastic, of course, but it was really happening. It wasn't computer generated,
Correct.
and it looks great. I just love this about 80s horror, just the literal blood, sweat, and tears they put into making these scenes authentic. It's a great scene. It really is. It is.
Well, and the idea, and then now I want to give you the opportunity, but I just got to say really fast, two things blow me away about it. Number one is the idea, like Wes dreamt this up, like what would be a really interesting kill? And I want my invisible killer, dream killer, to drag someone literally up a wall, over a ceiling, down another wall, drop her from the. So number one is the idea, but number two is the execution, and that's what you were just talking about. Wes had his prop crew literally build this crazy rotating room, and every piece of furniture is nailed down so that it appears she's the only thing moving, and it's done. It's just brilliantly shot, and and you never would believe, even though it's a movie, you would never believe just watching it that the whole room's moving. It's actually, but it's real. You're like, oh, how'd they get her up on the wall without, no. He was like, we're going to build this practical all the way. And so I just think that's brilliant on his part. And Neil, what are your thoughts on this particular scene?
Well, I mean, it's the same thing. It's like, what you're talking about, seeing this come out in 1984, which I didn't see Nightmare when it came out in 84. I was 13 years old when it came out.
Okay.
So I was a little too young for my parents to let me watch movies like this. Plus, after my initial reaction to The Howling, they decided, you're not going to watch one.
You ruined it for yourself.
Yeah. Well, my dad let me watch The Howling when I was like 9, and it was that didn't go over very well. But I was older than that. But anyway, you watch that scene, and if that movie came out today, you wouldn't think anything about it. It's like, oh yeah, that stuff happens all the time now. But in 1984, that was 100% practical.
Yeah,
they didn't have the computer ability to enhance that at all back then.
Yeah,
and there was never any doubt in my mind that she was on that ceiling. That's how effective it's shot. And that's the great thing. One of the reasons I like 80s movies is, even when they don't look 100% real. I mean, you take something like The Evil Dead that came out a few years before this one, 80, 81. There's some insanely cheesy practical effects in that film, but there's also some seriously amazing stuff, especially when you consider that cheesy stuff. That was all stop motion. I mean, how long it took them to film that? So I still appreciate they did that, even though it looks like Play-Doh. But the opening of The Evil Dead, where the camera is just flying over the swamp, it's like, how do they do that? And that's the thing about The Evil Dead, is the camera flies all around. And Wes is doing that same thing in Nightmare. I mean, it's just original stuff that nobody's ever really thought of before, and they figured out how to do it. Is the key thing. Having the idea is one thing, but having the people with the talent that can figure out, it's like, how can we take this camera and make this girl look like she's on the ceiling and getting ripped apart, you know? And it's just amazing to me. I love that stuff, and I'll always take that over CG any day.
You and me both.
Yep.
I know you're with us too. Like we all
Absolutely.
agree on that.
Oh yeah. No doubt about it at all. No doubt at all.
All right, Knight. So I'll let you get back to some of your commentary and some thoughts you wanted, if you'd like to continue.
Yeah. And also just to say, the Tina death is one of my favorites, and to me one of the best ever. But also, that whole setup to the death was just so well done. She's walking out into the alleyway, and you're just when you first watch it, you don't know. No. You don't know what to expect. We have no idea what Freddy's gonna do. I mean, we saw the first nightmare that she had, that quick part where he jumped out from absolutely nowhere. You're like, wow, that was freaky. But when he comes around that corner, you see the shadow, the silhouette with the hat, and just the way the lighting was on Robert. And he's just so evil. He's just his voice, Tina. It's like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. And even things that look wacky, like they talked about the stretch arms, how it didn't look exactly the way that they thought it would, or maybe as they wanted, but they just kind of rolled with it. Fortunately, because these are nightmares, you have some wiggle room for some things. To me, it scared the crap out of me. I was like, he could do anything, so that whole scene is fantastic. But obviously, once she's killed, my heart was broken. I was like, oh my God. And then, it's really on Nancy, and Heather was such a great actress for this part. She talked about how she really just kind of mirrored herself. She kind of injected herself into this role, and how she would approach it, her earnest nature and her intelligence and, her wit. And I'm telling you guys, she is just so amazing in this role. In my opinion, I was totally able to jump on board with her, which is tough. We talked about that the other night, Stephen, about the baton pass. The baton pass only works if two things happen. The person passing the baton, you have to be invested. You have to be invested in Tina. The other thing that has to happen is I have to be invested in Nancy. And it was a perfect baton pass because I was right on board with Nancy. And now you're trying to figure out what's going on. You got Rod, who's freaking out, and he gets captured by her father. Her father's the cop. So it's like, it's all these little things that are going on. And it's a mystery because they're trying to figure out what's going on. And I think that was also a very important and very intelligent thing that Wes had in this film, is that he took his time with it. And it's truly a mystery as far as what's going on here. How does he get us in our nightmares? What can he do? What can we do?
Yes.
And of course that goes back on Nancy, figuring out, okay, if I can lure him in my nightmare, can I bring him into the real world?
Yep.
And that was, to me anyways, that was very groundbreaking in and of itself too. Back then, of course, in the sequels, we saw that quite a bit, but but here in the first film,
Yeah, it's right. The original.
Yeah, it was just really, really cool to see. The nightmare scenes, the other nightmare scenes, I should say, they were creepy. Everything was creepy. The tone of this film, and I've said this before too, I love the tone of this film. It's dark, it's gritty, it's grimy. Freddy is dark and grimy. Even when he has a few moments where it could kind of be like a quip or whatever. Like when he says to Tina, watch this, and he cuts off fingers and stuff. Like, yeah, it's kind of like kind of quippy, but it's so dark. And it's so visceral, and it's like, or like no running in the hallway. It's like, it's creepy stuff, man. Seeing someone in a body bag, when you see, Tina in the body bag, it's like, I'm creeped out. The boiler room. I mean, I could keep going from scene to scene, but
right.
I just think that this film was just so amazing. It's literally, I kind of joke about this, especially with my brother. We say, well, films, they can't be perfect, but there are some films that are just perfect, and this is one of them. This scene here.
Look at that. That's one of my favorite. That's so incredible. I just love that scene, dude.
It looks gnarly. Yeah. And it's just like it's just like crazy. What is he doing? Of course, and I didn't want to do this. I'll just do it real quick. But of course, we know in the remake how they did it with the CG, and it doesn't look good, but it also doesn't freak me out. And it's not just because I know the scene. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Right. It just looks more freaky that he's coming out. And it looks like it's like the wall, which we know is solid, looks like he can maneuver it like it's plastic or something, and it just looks freaky. So yeah, it's so many amazing moments in this movie. There really are. So
many.
Yes.
Neil.
And you were too nice. In the remake, that is terrible.
There you go.
Not good.
It is.
Terrible.
Thank you, Neil. Neil.
It really is.
I think Knight was holding back because he's a guest on the channel tonight.
He's being nice.
He's being nice, but that's Neil said it. I agree, and I think down deep, Knight agrees with us too.
I do. I've railed on the remake so much. It's just, I'm telling you, man, it's crazy, but it just shows again that Wes. And I think he did this with all of his movies, even like People Under the Stairs and obviously with Scream. He takes very simple things that we can relate to, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And he just can make them creepy and scary. And he tweaks it just a little bit. He doesn't go overboard. Like when Freddy was coming down that that alleyway, he could have made him, I don't know, all these big bombastic things, but instead it was very nuanced. And I think that was a gift that Wes had in his films, and it's all throughout this movie and all of his movies to some degree or another. Oh, look at that. Oh my gosh, that's great.
Look at that. Isn't that crazy? Look at that shot, guys. Wow.
I love that.
Man, directing Robert Englund on set.
Yeah. That's crazy. I love pictures like that, man. Seriously. Oh my gosh.
I do too, because you picture, at least I do. I picture when I say Wes Craven, I think of how he looked when he passed, like the last 10, 15 years. I forget the older, or I should say the younger Wes, right?
Yeah, he was young one time.
Right. Absolutely. We all were, right? And I'm with you. I'm glad I was able to find this one. I like those kind of shots are just really cool. Behind the scenes, So Neil, tell us about kind of your overview of Nightmare on Elm Street in terms of just what I know where does it fit in your Wes Craven filmography, I guess, of films, and what did you like about it?
I mean, it's up there with Scream. I mean, it's one of his best films. And the way that I look at it now, not so much when it came out, but the way that I look at it now is you put it in its place, like in history. So, this film came out in 1984. So by that time, I mean, how many slasher films had come out since 1980? Friday the 13th, you can argue, kicked slasher films into mainstream movies. Everybody was making them. Every other film that came out between 1980 and 1983 was a slasher film. It easily had to be 100.
Oh yeah.
Count all the ones that went direct to video. I mean, there's a bunch. But 1984 comes around and the slasher craze is starting to kind of take a nosedive. People are tired of them. And here Wes Craven comes in and shows them something that they had never seen before. And I do believe that Nightmare on Elm Street is responsible for keeping Halloween and Friday the 13th going.
Yep.
Because here's another franchise that kicks off in 1984. I mean, every slasher you can think of has already come out. And he comes in and like you said, Nine, it's such a simple idea. How did somebody not think of this? And maybe they did. Maybe they just said, well, I wouldn't know how to film some of that stuff. It would look stupid. How do you make a dream killer? And it is an original idea. I mean, this idea that you could die in your dreams. Although I think the same year, is that when Dreamscape came out?
I think so.
They were hammering them, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Heck yeah.
So yeah, I think it was 84 when Dreamscape came out. That was also the idea that if you die in your dreams, you die in real life. It was not a slasher film. It was just a straight up sci-fi horror film. But this whole idea, of course, Wes does it better. So, but I do. That's the way I look at A Nightmare on Elm Street, is that it was just, some out of the box thinking that revived the slasher genre and kept it going through the 80s. I think it probably would have died if Nightmare hadn't come out.
I believe so too.
I don't think you would have seen another Friday the 13th sequel, and you probably wouldn't have seen another Halloween sequel, because they were, like I said, people were tired of slasher films. But then Wes Craven comes along and says, hey, there's still some ideas out there, and we can do them, and that's what we're going to do. And it's not the first time in his career that he did that. I mean, his very first film, although a lot of people don't particularly care for it, Last House on the Left, was also a groundbreaking film, because it showed that independent filmmakers could push that envelope, that they could do what they wanted to do. And you look at, a few years later, Tobe Hooper comes out with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, another film that pushed the envelope, even though it's not gory. People thought it was. Films like The Exorcist. I mean, think about some of the stuff that goes on in The Exorcist. And that was in the 70s, folks. You had a 12-year-old girl saying all that stuff, gouging herself with a crucifix. I mean, that's some pretty sick and shocking stuff. I mean, The Omen was, a pretty shocking film when it came out. So, Wes kind of kicked that off at the beginning of the 70s with, The Hills Have Eyes and Last House on the Left. So he'd already done that. And then he comes in and practically saves the slasher genre. And then 12 years later, he comes back and brings it back again.
He revives them. I mean, he
3 times.
If you think about it, three decades he is influenced in some iconic way.
And 3 different types of films.
Yes.
They're totally opposite from each other.
Yeah. And even though Nightmare and Scream are both slasher films, they're completely different from each other. He's totally still different. Thinking outside that box. You kind of got a glimpse of Scream in New Nightmare. He played around with those themes a little bit, but like I said, it just went past a lot of people. A lot of people didn't like New Nightmare because it was just too much. So he kind of learned a little bit and said, okay, well, here, try this one out for size. Here's a little film I like to call Scream. And we saw where that went, right?
That's right.
Yeah, so he was definitely, he's definitely an iconic director. And like I said, I don't like all of his movies, but he's one of the most important directors in horror. And we wouldn't have a lot of what we have today if it wasn't for him. So you got to have that respect.
Yes, 100%. And Knight, would you here's another death I wanted to talk about. And why don't you lead us with the, again, I call it iconic. Maybe I use that too much, but I think it's an iconic death in the movie. And it's, of course, the Johnny Depp killing, the murder.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think that this one was definitely gnarly because at this point, you've got Glenn, who's played by Johnny Depp, and you've got Nancy, and they're the last ones left. And obviously, they're sweethearts or whatever. So you're pulling for both of them. And this death was like, I had no idea what was going to happen. I mean, the hand comes out from underneath of him and just sucks him into the bed. And it looks so good. Again, this is practical stuff, but the rotating room was off balance, which is why when the blood comes up, you can even see it when it happens, how it kind of moves in angles a little bit.
Yes.
But Wes was like, it's so gnarly looking, it's so surreal looking. Let's keep it, because when they started to pour, I forgot how many gallons of the fake blood into the rotating room, it kind of took it off balance. So it started to kind of move and like swish around and all that. But it's so gnarly. It was like I remember even as a kid, I'm thinking, wait a minute, there's not that much blood in Johnny Depp. What's going on here? But again, that's some of the beauty of Elm Street, and of course we would see that played out in some of the other sequels in certain deaths, where the imagination, it just takes that little thing and it just amplifies it just enough, still with nuance, especially Wes, what he did. And it's so horrific. It's like, oh my God. And of course, when the cops come and, when you got the late, great John Saxon coming upstairs and they're like, there's nothing to see. And I'm, oh my God, that's just horrific. You feel so bad for Glenn. He was a good guy. He was Nancy's sweetheart. And you realize at that point, Nancy is now on her own. She doesn't have her parents. She sure as heck doesn't have Glenn. And Glenn's parents weren't on her side either. So she is totally alone having to deal with Freddy. Horrific stuff.
Yeah, really, it is. And you know what's not horrific though, Knight? Our super chats. We appreciate our super chats tonight. And just a quick update, guys. We are halfway to goal. We are at 10 super chats. Oh, wait, we're at 11. We just got another one popped in. So we only need 9 more super chats in the next 20 or so minutes, and we'll hit the goal. And the reward challenge will be won for another stream tomorrow night. So, guys, you're doing it. We're getting there. We're doing it. So keep it up. But there's a couple I want to bring up about Nightmare. Jeff with another $10 super chat. Jeff, thank you, bro. Man, you're so generous and so kind to do this to support the channel. And thank you. He says that's the scariest thing about it. It's in your dreams. You think you can die in your dream, this and then you have to sleep scared. I guess scary, like scared. And that's the thing, right, guys? We all have to sleep. And we know that's going to happen. Yeah. Our body will go to sleep at some point. And that's just so horrifying to think that you could be killed in your sleep in real life. Yep. It's like those, you have those vivid dreams sometimes that are like lifelike. You wake up and you feel like you were just actually there. Imagine that feeling, but it's real and you don't wake up.
It's true,
right?
Man.
And Jeff, great commentary. I 100% agree. And you're right. It's just the premise is brilliant. And then Hollywood Guy is coming in with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Hollywood Guy. Much appreciated, brother. Says, I would have loved to be a fly on the wall at the board meeting pitching Freddy, how he looks and acts. Yeah, could you guys imagine? That would have been really cool to have been there when that Wes Craven was making his pitch to Bob Shea.
Yeah,
wow.
That would have been to be a fly on the wall. Absolutely.
Man, totally. Because you never know what was said. You could have gone a million different directions, but whatever he said in combination with what Bob read in the script, he was sold. He was sold 100%.
He just thought it was so imaginative from what Bob has said. He thought it was so imaginative, and when they read the script, they were just like, yeah, this is a no-brainer, basically. And I mean, the studio, they were at rock bottom. This was kind of like you're going to Vegas with your last, lump of money, and you're putting it all on the line. That's basically what New Line did with Elm Street, and they won the lottery. That's why they call New Line the house that Freddy built. This is how we got the Lord of the Rings, people. It's because of Elm Street. Directly because of Elm Street.
Right.
Because they realized now they had some cash flow. Now they could go into other projects and so forth. So, it all started with Wes pitching the idea to Bob Shea and Bob being on board with it. So it's amazing stuff.
Love it. Yeah. And of course, I always like to say, let's be real. It's the house that Wes built. Let's be real on that. I know everyone says the Freddy, and I get it. I sometimes say it too. But if you really think about it, it's the house that Wes built. Because if it wasn't for his idea, that movie, there is no Freddy. So they're synonymous. But I get it, man. Trust me. I say it sometimes myself. That's the house that Freddy built. But I want to give Wes the credit tonight.
Yep.
just because, even though Freddie is giving him credit too, because he wrote the movie. Hollywood guy, thank you though. Seriously, appreciate that. Real quick, Sarah says, woohoo, or whoa, we're halfway there. Yay, and music. Thank you, Sarah. Sarah's being generous tonight, as always. I appreciate it. Helping us attempt to reach our goal of 20 super chats by 9 p.m. We got 15 minutes before the counter goes off on the goal. And speaking of which, okay, we've got a couple more real quick. I know Night, I just looked at the clock. So I think, and let's say this guy says Knight's going to have to head out. Neil, can you stick around a little bit longer after, here in a little bit? Is that cool?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, good. Okay. And Knight, I'm going to be so sorry that we can't have you here for Scream Talk, but listen, I understand. I totally understand. So before Knight has to head out, what are your closing, if you will, thoughts on Nightmare? What would you like to say to wrap it up for Nightmare?
It's a 5-star easily. I think, again, it's such an important film for horror. I think that it showed that you could do a really good movie, a good horror film with imagination. And you go from the ground up. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have a huge budget. You know, they were all, sweating and bleeding to make this thing happen. And they just made a great movie that to this day is still as effective as it was back in 1984. I didn't see it in 84 either because I was too young, but I did see it. I think it was a couple years later, maybe in 87 or whatever. But scared the crap out of me, and to this day, it still brings chills to my skin. And I mean, again, it's just so important. I could say it in so many ways, but that's the bottom line. It's such a great film, and it's so important. And like you said as well, Stephen, and I said too, this, and Neil said it too. This film has given horror so much. This concept, Wes as a director has given horror so much. That's why when I've ever talked about it, like when we did the great debates and stuff like that, and we talked about the original Elm Street, I really put it out there because I know there are some people that, either they kind of got lost in the sequels and kind of fell out of love with Freddy or this or that. But as a content creator, and maybe that's the beauty of being a content creator, you do step back and you look at bigger pictures and you go a little deeper and so forth. And no matter where those peaks and valleys were after the original, I'm just glad it all happened, because again, without that, we don't get, Halloween 4, we don't get Friday 13th 5 or 6, we don't get Scream, we don't get a lot of these films that today have been directly inspired by Wes, directly inspired by Elm Street, directly inspired by Freddy Krueger. Look at Child's Play. Look at all these villains that were talking and quipping.
That's right.
Freddy Krueger. No one was doing it before at that level.
Not at all.
At that level. You know what I'm saying? So again, all credit goes to Elm Street.
Absolutely. Well said. Well, guys, listen, if you are here and you popping in, or maybe you're watching the replay of this, heck, that could be 6 months from now, because this is one of those great evergreen video streams, because this is a topic that has no expiration date. So, this is one of those things where, it could be seen a long time from now, and I hope it is. But whenever you're hearing my voice and our voices, if you have not subscribed to my friend, my really close brother, Knight from the Night Watch Zone, I'm telling you right now, number one, what are you doing? I can't do it like Fate, but I try. But what are you doing? Seriously, I know that one of my moderators have put it in the chat, and if you haven't, again, I know you've been doing it throughout the stream, I'm saying, but please, if you wouldn't mind posting again now, whoever would like to do it, I would appreciate it. Let's get Knight's link one more time in the stream. Well, we'll do it even after you're gone, but one more time while he's here. And go hit that button right now. It'll open up in a separate window if you're watching on a web browser anyway. And that will let you subscribe. Smash the subscribe button, because his content is amazing. And I know Neil agrees with me on that. And you will love it. I promise you that. I don't waste your time on this channel. Knight always says, we don't lie here. Wow, we don't lie here either. So trust me. And before you head out tonight, I know I'm really gonna let you go. You're already going 5 minutes over. Please also do the same for my buddy Neil from Neon Black
Yes.
Reviews. This is his very first time on the channel. My fault. I've been meaning to do it for literally months. And we've been talking. I'll message Neil like all the time, going back months. I really want to have you on the channel soon. Neil's like, okay, let me know. Of course, I drop the ball every time.
Well, you got a lot going on, man.
That's thank you, buddy. It's true, but at the same time, thanks for when I finally rang the phone, like when you said, yeah, let's do it. And
Yeah.
I plan to have Neil back again, and not 6 months from now, much sooner than that, much sooner. Anyway, I said all that to say, please, yes, go subscribe to Neil and his channel. It's great stuff. Start with the Scream review, which we're about to get into, and go from there. But Knight, thank you for your time.
Yes,
It's been
absolutely.
fun having you. Thanks for all your insight, commentary. It's been great. And
Thank
you know
you.
I love you, brother. You know I love you, man. And
Much love to you too, and also to you,
hey, tell
Neil.
us.
And
Oh, go ahead. Go.
no, I'm just saying, both of you guys. Much love to both of you. Both of you are just not only. I don't just like listening to you guys because you're knowledgeable, but
Mhm.
you guys are good guys, man. And
Oh,
on a
well,
personal level, even better than that, you guys are good friends. You guys are true friends. And so it's always fun to be able to hang out with you guys, no matter what we're talking about or what we're watching. It's fun.
yes.
It's like family. That's why I say that type of stuff. So yeah.
Oh man. Well, right back at you, because everything you just said about
Absolutely.
us goes right back to you, my friend. I
Thanks,
know
man.
that's how we feel too. And
Thanks, man.
it's like family. It's just
Yep.
it's just a great feeling. So go and enjoy the rest of your night with special people, and tell Coriander that I said thank you
I will.
for tonight. Would you?
She,
Seriously.
she'll have a big smile on. She will.
Okay. You do that for me, man. I appreciate it.
All right.
Night. Well, hey, listen. Tell everybody super fast about Friday night.
Yeah,
real quick.
tell her thanks for this, Knight.
Oh my gosh, he's so cute, isn't he?
that's
She
awesome.
Yeah.
Man,
Yay.
when she was working on that, I was like, oh my God, these creations, these little figures, they're so cute. You know what I mean? Like they're horror figures, but they're so
are.
cute.
They are.
Yeah, on Friday night we're gonna hang out and party a little bit, and obviously I'll have these two guys hanging out for as long as they can, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. And in my opinion, I mean, we say it's a celebration of our subscribers and stuff like that, but to me it's also like a thank you to all of our viewers, but also for the folks that are going to be on the panel. To me, it means a lot. You guys mean a lot. You guys mean probably more than you'd ever know. You know what I'm saying? Because we can't do this stuff alone, man. We just can't. There are times when I'm just telling you, it's rough, but being able to hang out with other folks, other content creators that are true friends like you guys, it means so much. So it's also a thank you to you guys as well. So it'll be fun.
Man,
Absolutely, it will be.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Neil. Yeah, it's gonna be a blast, guys. Julie and Sarah both I should say May and Sarah have both put a link directly to the Friday night party on Knight's channel. So you guys, you already heard Knight. He gave you a sneak peek. Neil's going to be there, and you guys have been watching Neil for almost 2 hours, so I know you love him, and I'm going to be there too. So Neil, we'll be back together in a couple nights.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
I don't think anybody's unsubscribed yet, so we're doing all right.
That's so funny. That's what I'm talking about. Your sense of humor, like, comes out of nowhere. I'm not
He
expecting.
does.
It. So good.
He does.
And Neil, do you have? I don't know if you have your channel pulled up on your phone or anywhere, but I'd like to get an update on your sub count if we've moved any higher, because there's a lot of new folks that are here now that have just come in. And so if you're here and you're just joining, hey, Jen, you're one of them. Jen Werner's here. If for any reason you're hearing my voice and you have not subscribed to Neil's channel, and I've got it right here coming for you. I know it's already in the chat. Julie's got it for me. And Julie, if you could throw that in real quick. Neil's not leaving though. We're not done yet. We're
No,
we got
we're not
Scream
done.
Talk. No, we
Gotta
have
talk
Scream
about
Talk.
Scream.
Got to. But
That's
Night,
right.
I'm gonna Coriander's gonna kick my tail now, keeping you 10 minutes later
No,
than we
no,
agreed
she
on.
won't.
But there's Neil's channel. Please subscribe to Neil. We're trying to get him to 1,000 subs between tonight and Friday night stream on nights. He's so close. Where you at, Neil? Where you chance to check?
11 away, 989.
There you go.
Dude, that is a
Amazing.
fantastic. Oh my
Yep.
gosh,
Thank
guys.
you to everybody that subscribed tonight. So definitely appreciate that.
Yeah.
And if you've been looking at the back catalog, you realize I haven't posted a video in about 3 months. I'm just taking a break, and I will be back soon, probably
Fantastic.
sometime in May. So be on the lookout.
Awesome.
Nice.
Start posting
Yeah.
more content, new movies.
And you know
Sweet.
what? I bet hitting 1,000 subs will be even more fuel in your tank, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He's like, oh yeah, that's great. So close at 989. Jeff just subscribed, so I hope that might actually be 990. But we'll check. Neil, Talking Star Wars just subscribed to you, Neil. There we
right.
go,
Awesome.
guys.
Thank you so much.
We still might hit 1,000K. Night, I'll let you know. I'm sure Neil will too if we hit it on this stream.
Yes. Yes.
But if we don't, I know we're hitting it Friday night. If not,
I'm guaranteeing it.
Guarantee
Unless there's
it.
some cataclysmic situation in the world going on, I'm guaranteeing it.
yes. Night, I love you, brother. I mean
Love
that.
you too, man.
Thank you so much for tonight. You were awesome as
Yeah.
always. And we're gonna and we'll be together again on Friday night on your channel. So
We will. We will,
I
man.
cannot wait. You have a great rest of your night.
You guys too, and have fun. And I'll be talking to you guys soon.
Yep. See you
Perfect. Sounds
Friday.
good, buddy. Good
All
night,
right.
man. Take
See you
care.
guys
Good
up.
night, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, guys. The one and only Night, just a special guy. Special guy.
He
and
truly
such a-
is.
He really is. He is, Neil. I know you know that hardcore. Yep. All right. So, guys, keep subscribing to Neil's channel because we're not done just yet. And by the way, Neil, before we go on, I have to announce we have hit our super chat goal of 20 super chats tonight in
All
the
right.
first 2 hours, Neil. It happened.
Fantastic.
Woo-hoo. That's so exciting. So what that means is you guys have won. I'm going to take the banner down because you guys hit it. You have won the reward challenge tonight that I have of me having a unplanned live stream tomorrow night. I was planning on not even having it because I knew I was going to be on Night's channel on Friday. But guess what? You said, no, we want tomorrow night, and I'm going to do it. So I'll be back at 7 p.m. Central, same as tonight, tomorrow night on Thursday. And you never know who may pop up with me. Just so stay tuned. And I want to say a genuine, seriously, thank you to everyone tonight. We're not done. Don't go anywhere. But thank you for everyone who contributed to the goal and of hitting 20. That's so kind of you. Helps more than you know. Trust me. And it means a lot. It's very encouraging. So thank you guys. Well, Neil, we're moving on to the final film tonight before we end the stream in a little while. We got to talk about it. My choice for our movie tonight, and it is, of course, come on, guys, no suspense here. It's Scream 1, Scream 1996, the amazing movie that kicked everything off that we've enjoyed since then. And there's much I can say. I will, and look, just as Knight said about Nightmare a moment ago, and I said earlier, we can do a whole 2-hour stream on all three of these movies to do deep dives easily. But I will be, for the sake of time, and Neil's going into overtime, and I appreciate it. I'll keep it more short because you guys know we talk Scream here all the time. It's like one of our most favorite things to do. So, but some things need to be talked about. Is this film? Let me put it this way, all right? Going back to the beginning, and you know what, Neil, I should do this first. We got those super chats. I need to get to those. Let me get to those because that's very important to me. So let me do this first, and then we're going to dive in. So get ready, everyone who's here. Get ready for Scream Talk. It's coming. And I know you've been waiting for it. It's coming. But let's go back up here and see what we got. Jeff has a question. Okay. And this is for Neil and I. Do you, first of all, thank you, Jeff, very much for your super chat. do you think James Wan is one of the best modern day horror directors today? I have a strong opinion. Neil, I'll let you lead us off.
100% yes.
Okay.
I don't know that there's a James Wan film that I don't like.
Yeah.
I mean, Saw was a groundbreaking film. That was, like Wes has done a few times in his career.
Yeah.
But James Wan, to me, I read the reviews. I know that everybody's like, oh, his movies are nothing but loud noises and jump scares, and I want to argue with these people.
Me too.
Because I think he understands. Sure, there's a lot of jump scares. Now, granted, there weren't a whole lot in Saw. There were still a few. But you look at, The Conjuring, Malignant. I mean, you look at those films, and yeah, there are a lot of jump scares, but they're not the cheap ones. I mean, the cheap jump scares are the ones that I don't like, where, somebody opens, the door or the doors to the basement and the birds fly out. I can't stand that jump scare. Somebody's in the bathroom with the mirror and they open the medicine cabinet and then there's somebody behind them. I can't stand it.
It's so
James
predictable,
Wan doesn't
right?
mess around with that. He's not in that. That's not his thing. He understands how to craft a jump scare and make it effective. And if you look at like something like Insidious, two of the biggest jump scares in that film have no accompanying music with it. It doesn't until after it happens. You're scared, and then the music makes you really jump. And I'm talking about like when the guy's standing on the other side of the crib, and when he's walking outside, and all of a sudden he's in the room with them. Those are two of the best jump scares I've ever seen in my life, and they still get me, even though I've seen the film 100 times since then. So yes, but James Wan also understands horror.
Yes,
it's not all jump scares. There are truly scary moments in his films. There, it's creepy, it's atmospheric, and he comes up with some good stories too. So yeah, he's one of my favorite directors. Yeah, absolutely, hands down.
Yes, I echo everything you just said. To be honest, I've often said this on here on the channel that I believe, for me personally, just my opinion, of course, but he's my favorite modern day horror director because I think that there's a lot of good ones. Don't get me wrong. Trust me, there's a lot of good ones. Eli Roth is up there. Ty West. There's some good ones. But James, to me, is just a master of what he does. And he has his own style. And you see it in his cinematography, the brilliant, beautiful way he films the movies are filmed, excuse me. And Malignant, this is another movie that I just rewatched recently. My favorite horror film of 2023. And there's this shot, Neil, you probably remember it. But if you don't, that's okay. But there's this one shot where she's in the house and it starts on the bottom floor in the living room. The camera's looking down like someone's on the roof or the ceiling.
Yeah, you see the top of the walls and everything.
You see it, right? You see her up the stairs, but you know what? And it goes all the way to the bedroom. And it's one single shot with no breakaways.
Yeah.
And that's like so creative, and it's so James Wan. We're not, I won't rant because I really could on this. I really could, Neil. I know. We could have a James Wan stream for 2 hours.
We could
easily. And maybe we will. Maybe that's, that may be an idea.
That's an idea.
But another scene when they're in of course, the epic police station scene, which is, oh my gosh. But there's a shot where she's in the by the desks where the cops are at, and the camera, she stabs someone and the camera like follows the knife, the weapon. Like, it's so cool. It just looks great.
Absolutely. And Malignant is a nod to Giallo.
It is. Even
and
the
that
color.
camera following the blade is a nod to Dario Argento.
Yes.
Because he has done that several times in his Giallo films. So Wan was paying tribute. But like I said, it's wonderfully shot. Yeah. And if you've never seen a Giallo in your life, you'd have never known it.
That's right.
But James Wan, there's a few nods in Malignant to
Malignant.
several famous Giallo scenes, and that's one of the reasons I love it because I'm a huge Giallo fan. So,
Oh yeah, for sure. No, there's a special place for those films too,
yeah,
for sure. But anyway, I will leave it there for James Wan for this stream. But he's my favorite modern day director. So there you go, Jeff. Great
thanks,
question.
Jeff, for the question. Thank you.
Yes, it was very good. We're going to keep it going. Talking Star Wars just said, hey, helping achieve your goal. That's so generous, man. Seriously. Thank you so much.
Really.
Wow. Troy's coming in. Thank you, Troy, for your super chat. Conceptually, Nightmare on Elm Street's the perfect horror film. Takes advantage of one of three basic functions that all humans need to survive. And that's an idea that won't ever be topped, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not going to argue with that. I'm really not. It's brilliant. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
I mean,
thank you, Troy. Go ahead. Do you want to say anything else, Neil, on that?
No, I was like, just like I said, it was an original film and it reinvigorated the slasher genre. So,
totally.
You have to respect it. You have to respect it.
And Stella, hey Stella, my friend, coming in with a $5 super chat. Thank you. Says Glenn's advice, this is back to A Nightmare on Elm Street, and Glenn's advice to tell yourself it's just a dream when you're having it, and you'll wake right up. It's something I still do to this day. It works. That's so
I have done it once or twice myself.
Yeah. There's been some, Neil, I've had some dreams I wish I'd done it.
Thankfully, I don't remember most of mine because they're always really out there. They're weird. But that's what you get when you've been watching horror movies for 40 years.
It just seeps in the brain, buddy. It's in our cells, brain cells now.
My brain's good and marinated.
And Jeff helping out to reach the goal. Look at that. That's so kind, Dave. Thank you, Jeff.
Oh, Mayanne says she doesn't like the New York Ripper. Oh, come on, Mayanne. That's one of the best.
The New York Ripper.
Definitely one of Fulci's sleaziest Giallo films. But
I haven't seen that one, actually. I haven't seen that one. Okay.
It's not for everybody. I can understand why she doesn't like it.
Gotcha. Jeff with a $2 super chat helping us reach goal again. Thank you, man. That's such generosity tonight by you guys. And look at JT. JT's coming in. And I love how when he does things like this. So you got to stick with this, Neil. This is actually like a puzzle. So we got to read it. It's one word, right? It's Freddie. Another super chat is another super chat. Another super chat. Goat. That is fantastic. And of course, he could have sent one super chat with that total, but he wanted us to hit goal and have that stream tomorrow. And that's really cool, man.
Well, that's why JT's so awesome, man.
He is awesome. I agree. And he's very talented and gifted at what he does with his sculptures and his creations, as I call them. Just wonderful.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. If you're not following him on Instagram to get the play-by-play,
yes,
because he posts updates all the time, and follow his channel too, because I mean he does videos for his work as well. But if you follow on Instagram, you kind of get the in progress updates as what he's doing, and he's fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
Oh yeah. In fact, if one of my mods, I'm not sure if you're all still here, you may be, but if any of you, or whoever I should say, which one of you are one, I can't even talk. My gosh.
Mayanne's still here.
Mayanne's still here. Okay. So Mayanne, if you could please post a link to JT's stream. I'm sorry, his channel, so that you can go check out his streams, Nightmare on My Stream, which I love the name. I think that's a chef's kiss name for a channel. Nightmare on My Stream. It's just great. And let's get his Instagram out there too. And you already are. Mayanne, look at Mayanne. She's all over it. All over it. And Jeff, thank you for another $5 super chat to help us reach that goal earlier. So generous. And guys, look here real quick before we get to Scream. Then we're going to Scream, I promise.
We'll get to it.
We'll get to it. My good friend, she is one of the first 5 subscribers, Neil, to my channel.
Who's that?
And I'm about to bring her up right now. Jen Warner. Sorry. Jen Warner has gifted 5 memberships to the channel
Oh, that's
tonight.
awesome.
Jen, man, that is so Jen. Thank you really so much, Jen. You know I love you. You're such a faithful supporter and a friend. She is
And on
she,
Knight's
again,
channel as well. So
and
yeah,
she
see
is
her all the time.
all the time. And she's so faithful. And she's one of the first 5 subscribers to this channel 3 years
That's
ago,
awesome.
almost 3 years
Yeah,
ago.
wow.
Yeah. And I call her an OG. She's one of my OG subscribers. And she's still here. 3.5 years later, Jen is still here, still coming to streams. She's doing everything she can to help the channel. She just bought a shirt, another shirt from me. And I didn't even know. She messaged me, and she just bought one of my Cult of Craven t-shirts.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, Jen. So, Jen, thank you. And everyone who has become a member, please, if you're here, thank her for that gift. That's so kind. And Jen, you're the best. You're the best. All right, there we go. So you can follow JT on Instagram, like as Neil was talking about right there. Click the link, follow him. You're good to go. And there's his YouTube channel, brand new. He's brand new channel. So check it out. All right, guys. Hold on a second, man. JT says you're about to do the Jen from Wishmaster. Dude, hold up, bro. Hold up. Because, see, this is one of my favorite Wes Craven movies. I don't talk about enough because he produced the film. He didn't write it. He didn't direct it. But he funded it. He's produced it. His hands, Neil, are all over that first one. I mean, we've got Robert Englund in the movie. We've got Kane Hodder in the movie. We've got is Tony Todd, isn't he even it too? Or no, I may be wrong. Maybe not.
Oh, it's been so long since I've seen it. It's the only one in the franchise that I care for.
Okay.
That I'm aware of. I don't think I made it past the third one.
I have not seen any sequels to that movie, believe it or not.
They go downhill quick.
Well,
but the first one's good.
And that's the only one that Wes was involved with, was the first one.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. But JT, we got to talk about the Jen. That's all I got to say, bro. Because I dig the Jen. Man, he looks wicked. And I know Jen, that's one of her favorite franchises. She loves the franchise. Yep. Okay. So, guys, here we go. Neil, let's do it, man. We have teased it enough. And we're not
going to talk about Scream.
Maybe we should.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I know. Here we go, guys. We're talking about, of course, as I started to say earlier, Scream 1, 1996. And this movie has, and it's an interesting thing, it matches some of the other Craven films that were picked tonight. Most notably, of course, Nightmare. But this came at a time where horror, especially slashers, it was a dying subgenre. It was not good. It really wasn't. Most of those, I remember the direct to VHS, Neil, they weren't even all getting in theaters anymore. And
oh no,
it was like there was just no activity that anyone in the mainstream horror world, at least, was paying attention to. And along comes Dimension Studios, and as much as I despise Harvey Weinstein and the Weinstein brothers in general, those guys were just awful. But despite that, they did one good thing. They convinced Wes to do the movie. And Neil, I'm sure you know a lot of this backstory, but they approached Wes. It was 4 times. Wes turned them down 3 times to do the movie. They pitched him 3 times, and he said, no, no, no. And then Wes shared a story that he was at a convention or some type of a public event, and this like teenage girl, young girl, came up to him, or young boy, it may have been, and said, "Hey, when are you going to make another Kick Blank ASS movie?" And it's like it lit a fire in Wes. And he said, "You know what?" He said, "That's what sparked him to do the movie." So we called the Weinsteins back. He said, "Hey, is it still open?" They're like, "Yes, we want you." And he signed on. And that's how he agreed to do Scream. And I'll say little did you know, I can't speak for him really, but I'm saying I bet based on the actors and folks involved with that movie that I've had the pleasure of meeting and talking to, no one on set said that they expected this to be an iconic film 30 years later that we're still talking about. And I suspect Wes may have suspected that, or who knows, maybe he said, you know what, there's something special here. But either way, he literally saved the slasher genre in the 90s. It revived it. This movie brought everything back to theaters again. Well, now we're getting Urban Legend. Now we're getting, Valentine.
I Know What You
now
Did Last Summer.
Bingo. I Know What You Did Last Summer, and the sequel, and there's so many I'm leaving out. You just go look at slasher movies from 96 to 2005 and just look at the resurgence. That is because of Scream. This film, when I say iconic, I can't stress that enough. It's all capital bold. A Wes Craven masterpiece. I think it's absolutely one of his best films. I'm not going to say because that's so hard for me to do, but it is absolutely in there. It's top 5. Heck, it's top 3 for me, without a doubt. And it's probably honestly number 1 if you nail me down to it, just because I love it so much. And he took that script that Kevin Williamson wrote on paper, and in his mind and imagination and vision brought all those words to life in a grand scale. I mean, just the locations alone, these beautiful homes, these wide shots. They had, some of the newer Scream films, the last couple, they're so tight on the shots, like especially Scream 5. I like Scream 5, don't get me wrong, but it feels like you're suffocating. Scream West, man, just beautifully shot, beautiful locations. He picked the perfect cast. Because Neil, I will get your thoughts in a minute, but I can't picture anyone else playing the roles that those characters than those that are in them. I mean, they did such a good job. Nev was brilliant. I mean, Wes was able to get so much emotion from her, and she is still so talented to communicate it. And then Billy, with Skeet Ulrich and Matthew Lillard, oh my gosh, the perfect combo in that movie. And then Tatum, I mean, you just keep going down the list. Randy, of course, Jamie Kennedy and David Arquette, Courtney Cox. You guys know the names. You're Scream fanatics like me and Neil. But the point of it is, it was magic or lightning in a bottle, as they say, right, Neil? It was, to me, and this may be arguable for some folks, and that's fine. It's my opinion that it is a perfect movie. I honestly believe that. I would not change a scene. I wouldn't change anything within it. And I believe it from a cinematographer perspective, an acting perspective, a directing, a storyline, character development, and last but not least, the score by Marco Beltrami, who Wes personally picked. The studio wanted to go with a veteran person. I forgot who it was. And Wes insisted on this brand new guy with no resume, basically. And he said, I want him. He's going to be the guy that scored it. And it's so beautiful. I've watched Scream. I'm not using hyperbole, probably close to about 200 times now. And that, it doesn't matter. The score grips me every time. It's like perfectly put score. And I'll say this, Neil, now I'm going to turn it over to you. I watched it in theaters. I'm old enough, thankfully, to have been able to go to see it after work one night. It was like a week after it came out. And I sat there and I watched this film unravel. It's a whodunit slasher. To me, that is like the best dessert you can think of for you, and times 2. It was perfect. It's what I love, and it was executed so great. I walked out of the theater, Neil. I went to my truck, and the first thing I said to myself? I thought, I have to have every person I know go see this movie. I've never felt that way about another film. I'm like, people need to see it. And Neil, thankfully they did, to the tune of $163 or $4 million in 1996, which now is a even huge. It's way huger number what it would be now.
Sure.
And it was a game changer. It saved the genre. And to this day, it's heralded as such an iconic film, and the fandom has never stopped for 30. It'll be 30 years next year. And
that's right.
It's my movie. So Neil, having said all that, I'm going to take a break, drink a water, and I want to hear your thoughts about The Amazing Scream, even though I know a lot of them from your great review.
Yeah, I was going to say my review was positive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I forget.
Yeah, it was very good.
No, I can't. Like you said, it's like, would you change anything about the film?
Yeah.
And I can't, I can't come up with a way to change it that would be better. I really can't. Everything that I could think of, well, they could have done this. Well, it would have been a worse film. Because it's very, very good. And, and like you said, it's got a great cast. That is one of the reasons why I like the film so much is, Courtney Cox is my girl. She's from Birmingham where I live. She grew up probably about 10, 12 miles from where I live. Obviously I don't know her, but yeah, she is, from Birmingham. Well, she's older than I am too. But yeah, so she's my girl. But I mean, Neve Campbell was perfect in that role. Matthew Lillard was great. I mean, as much as you like to hate his character, I mean, he's just great. But yeah, the thing that I like about Scream so much is just the idea behind it that, Wes Craven, they crafted this story. It's like, hey, we're going to make a slasher film. The slasher film, it's not going to be self-aware. The characters are not self-aware. They just realize that things are playing out just like all the horror movies that they've ever seen. And one of the ways that that's manipulated is the fact that the killers are there amongst them, fueling that going on. So it's not that, these kids are just that smart. It's like, the killers are, hey, we're going to do this like a horror film. And they kind of manipulate everybody into realizing what's going on, which makes it so much a surprise at the end, because, it turns out they were right there all along. How do we not see that?
They sure were. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's great. And the other thing too, and I've never been able to find out if this was a nod or if Wes was even aware of it. But, the thing about Scream that sets it apart from just about every slasher movie you've ever seen is the fact that there are two killers.
So original. My gosh.
And they take the blame off of one of them by having him in jail while something happens. Yes. Well, that is exactly what happened in 1964 with Mario Bava's Blood and Black Lace. That is the thing behind it, and the having one of the suspects in jail when something happened was the way that they cast the suspicion off of that character. So I've always wanted to know if it was just a nod, or just two people coming up with the same idea. Well, it's definitely not the first time Bava's been copied in a slasher film. I mean, Friday the 13th Part 2, the spear through the two people in the bed, that was from Bay of Blood, or as I like to call it, Twitch of the Death Nerve. That's its actual original title. It sounds better than Bay of Blood. But if you watch those two films, but Sean S. Cunningham has just sworn up and down that he'd never seen Bay of Blood. And I'm like, really, dude? Go back and watch it. It's almost a frame by frame reenactment.
Really? So it was like that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, it really is. But anyway, that's another thing that I like about Scream is that, I'm not going to call it a ripoff because, like I said, one of two things. They either wanted to throw a nod back to Bava because, the Giallo film is where slashers originally came from. Because they're so similar. But, I think it was, they're throwing a nod back, or they just happen to have the same idea. Because, again, that film came out in 1964.
It's true. Right.
And, in 1996, I mean, how many people would recognize something, from an Italian giallo film from 30 years ago?
Right. Exactly. That's
but
true. Yeah.
I watch a lot of giallis, so it's like, oh my god, it's like what. But actually, it was I saw Scream first, so when I actually got back to watching Baba's film, I was like, holy crap, is this where Scream came from?
That's
but
awesome.
anyway, it was.
I told you
one
guys
of the things
Neil's
I
an
like about it.
encyclopedia. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, I told him, remind everybody you're an encyclopedia. So I'm talking about. But go ahead, Neil. Go ahead.
But anyway, no, that's one of the things that I really like about Scream, and again, I mean, it's just the cast. I mean, it's like you're just so into the film, and it's all the the movie references, and I love stuff like that. It's one of the reasons why I like The Cabin in the Woods so much. It's just all of the horror references that are in that film. I mean, I could just watch it all day long, and Scream. It's got it there. It's got it, in spades. And it's just, I don't care how many times you watch it. I mean, you can know exactly everything that's going to happen. I mean, you can quote the dialogue line for line, and it's still fun to watch.
Isn't that crazy, Neil? Because it's the same for me. I'll turn Scream on, and I'll be like, I just sit back. I'm like, I'm totally engaged. And I know everything. Like you say, everything. Doesn't matter. It still engages me, and I'm into it 100%. I even still feel the tension when Sydney's being attacked. I'm like, I'm all like riled up, like I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
That's powerful, and that's not easy to accomplish, man.
Well, there's not a whole lot of films that I'm this way about. Obviously, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is one because that's my favorite film of all time.
Yes, sir.
John Carpenter's Halloween is another. Even if I see it on cable and it's an hour and 10 minutes into the film, I can sit there and watch the rest of it. But Scream is one of those films. And there's only a handful of them. Let's see, you got TCM, you got Halloween, Scream. I can't think of really any more that I could just sit down and watch just because it's on. And I'm flipping channels or whatever, that I can just, sit there and just watch it without, planning on it. Because it's just that good. And I can do the same thing with Scream 2, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah, for 100%. Yeah. I mean, honestly, for me, all the first 4 Screams, all the West Screams, I could kind of be that way with, honestly. I love all of them. They're all, they have the shared DNA, but they're all unique from each other. And it's interesting how Wes could make all those films feel like their own movie, but at the same time feel connected to each other. And I just love that, man. Because you could watch Scream 3, for example, and have never seen the first 2, and you'll enjoy the movie. Or, you can enjoy the movie. Scream 4. You miss all the background and all the little things. But anyway, to your point, it's very true. And
or just how they take this idea of, we're making a movie that is based on movies, how horror movies work. That's the whole, shtick behind these films. But they keep raising that bar as they go along. It's like, that was the whole thing with, with Scream 2. It's like, we're not in the OG anymore. We're in the sequel. This is how things have to work in the sequel. But they don't necessarily follow the rules so that you don't get what you're expecting every time. They will change things up. But at the same time, that's the whole fun part of it, is that, you recognize the patterns, and so do they. That is the thing that just makes it stand out to me. And again, I love that stuff. And again, that's why I like Cabin in the Woods so much, because it's, it's a meta film just like Scream.
It is. Well, Neil, real quick, and we're not going to go much longer, guys. I knew it was an ambitious stream tonight to talk about these 3 movies without going for 4 hours, or 5 hours, but we are going to wrap up in about 10 minutes. So, we'll call it a night for this round, but there's always, Neil, we can always have round 2 and round 3.
Sure.
It's right. That's the beautiful thing, is even though a stream ends, it doesn't mean it's the end of the stream. So, Let's talk, Neil. A scene that we need to talk about, I think, tonight, I really do, is one that I've heard many people say, and I'm one of them, but I've heard a lot of others say, take this as just as an opening scene in horror history, that it ranks up there as one of the most iconic and well done, if you will. I don't even say well done. That so undersells the value. I'll just leave it at iconic. That it's one of the most amazing and iconic openings of any horror movie. Put it up against any opening kill or opening of a horror movie. There's it of all time. Sorry, I was trying to process my thoughts. So I happen to believe that to be true as well. And Neil, I'd like you to share your thoughts on just the opening sequence, that first 13 minutes, where we are left with our jaws dropped, seeing Drew Barrymore or Casey Becker hanging with smoke coming out of her body in the cool air from a tree. We got to talk about it. So what are your thoughts on the opening? Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, first of all, it's Drew Barrymore. I mean, yeah, I remember her from Firestarter.
Me too.
Years ago. Which is also a very good Stephen King book. But anyway, I mean, just as an opening scene, I mean, again, you know, even though this film came out, excuse me, in 96, I mean, it's still, you know, a throwback in a way to the slasher films of the 80s. So if you go back to the 80s, you know, what was going on in the 80s? Well, we had landlines back then. And we prank called each other all the time. I mean, we called people up, you know, is your refrigerator running? And they're like, yeah, well, you better go catch it. Yeah. So that's what it reminded me of. This is a prank call. It's like, when's the last time you saw somebody doing a prank call? But as the scene, like you said, it's 13 minutes long. It's one of the longer opening scenes in horror. I think Friday the 13th Part 2 for a long time was the longest opening scene because it runs for over 15 minutes. But I mean, Scream's right up there with it. Yeah. But yeah, it's like, you know, as it goes along, you're like, okay, well, this ain't a prank call. This is actually going to get serious. And then when you see your boyfriend outside, you're like, oh yeah, they dead serious about what they said on the phone today. But yeah, it's like, you know, the parents coming home and you think she's going to make it and she doesn't. And then of course her parents have to find her like that, you know, and it's like, oh my God, this is going to be, you know, my first time through, I was like, okay, this is going to be a real slasher movie. They're not pulling punches here, because that's the thing. It's like, you know, you think about a mainstream horror film from the 90s. They didn't kind of go there with the gore. No, but Scream does. Scream's a bloody film. That's right. Yeah, especially for 1996.
Yes, for the era, that time. That's right.
Yeah. And of course, you know, you got Terrifier and stuff like that coming out now, and they're showing that stuff in the theater, and I'm just like, oh my God,
ridiculous, man. Yeah.
I mean, the last time I saw a film that I was just impressed that they showed that much gore in a theater was the Piranha remake.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, I think that's from 2010, 2011. Yeah. I went and saw that movie and I'm like, oh my God. It's like, they're really showing this this is the R-rated version? Man, I'd like to find an unrated version of this film, which I think they do have.
I
bet. But yeah, Scream was pretty bloody for 1996. And even the movies that it spawned, because, you know, it did kind of rejuvenate the slasher genre. It still stands out. I mean, a lot of those films were not all that bloody. Like, I Know What You Did Last Summer is not all that bloody, you know, things like that. Neither is what is it? You just said it a minute ago.
Urban Legend.
Urban Legend. You know, it's got some, but it's, you know, Scream's still a little more. Yeah,
it is.
But yeah. So as an opening scene, I was just like, man, if this whole movie gets that intense, it's going to be good, and it was
100%. It really was. Yeah, it just kicked me off my feet. That opening, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is how the thing starts. Whoa. just incredible.
And they killed Drew Barrymore. How dare you?
That's the other thing, right? A lot of people were really thinking she was, and she was originally she was going to be Sidney Prescott. They were going to have, she was going to be. And then I remember from one of the interviews in the back and the stuff where Drew went to Wes and said, hey, you know what? I think I could even be, I don't know if she said not more effective, but I think it'd be really cool is if I'm the opening kill instead. And Wes thought about it and he's like, yeah, let's do that. Yeah. And they did it. And it was an amazing decision on Wes's part and Drew's part, honestly.
Because that's the thing. I mean, at that time, I mean, people knew who Nev Campbell was. And they knew who Courtney Cox was.
Yeah.
But everybody knew who Drew Barrymore was.
Heck
and
yeah,
seeing
man.
her in the cast and she gets killed in the first 15 minutes of the film, people are like, what the hell is going on here? You know, it's like, you know, it's not like this is some no-name actress that, you know, is starting, you know, the opening kill of a slasher movie. They killed a big name right off the bat. And I was just like, wow.
Yeah, that's like,
I really didn't think she was going to die the first time because it was Drew Barrymore. I was like, she's not going to die. They're just setting up the killer. This is not going to be, you know, a kill. But yeah, it was.
And that's part of the brilliance of it is like, because you're right. When you see Drew Barrymore, even though you know something creepy is going on, your guard is still down. You're still know in the back, oh, well, she's safe. She's going to make it. And then you're like, oh, shoot, she's really good. They're actually going to kill her, you know?
Yeah.
And it just
when he first comes up behind her, you know, he first comes up behind her and stabs her a few times. Like, well, she might live through that.
Yeah.
No, you see her hanging in that tree and it's like, yep, she's done.
She's done.
I don't know how I feel about it right yet, but she's done.
That's right.
So.
Totally. And it's I call it a must-see movie. It is a must-see movie for anyone that has even a little interest in horror. You got to watch this movie. And I'm sure everyone in the chat here agrees with us on this point. It's an amazing, that's not even a strong enough word. It's a brilliant film that I adore. And that ever since I saw it, Neil, in the theater, my passion match was lit and it burns. That match has turned into a uncontrollable bonfire over the course of my life. And every time I rewatch it again and again, my enjoyment factor is the same as it was when I first saw the film. And there's not many movies that I can say, and very few actually, thinking about it, that I can say has that effect. So, and Neil, I know you mentioned you share that sentiment, and it's just that kind of movie. And I wish that Wes had been able to make his new trilogy, because when he did Scream 4, the intention was a new trilogy, and it was very vocal about it. It was not a secret after it came out. And the Weinstein brothers, and it's the last thing I'm going to say, and then we're going to do a super chats come through. I firmly believe, honestly believe, that movie did not have the success that was anticipated because Dimension did not market that movie the way they should have. It was so poorly marketed, at least where I live, and people have told me this in their areas as well. There were no billboards. There were no, and back then there were still newspapers. There were still newspapers. There was like no serious marketing campaign to push this movie and to promote this movie on social media, even though social media was young. But so, yeah, I can't necessarily prove this thing, but I believe anyway that Dimension was the biggest problem with Scream 4. And if they had really pushed that movie, I think they said, you know what? Everybody loves Scream. Look at the last 3 movies. We made $160 million a pop. So I believe they rested on their loyals of the brand. And they did. They said, we don't need to spend, X amount of millions to market this movie. We'll just, everyone's going to come. And I'm sorry, Neil. I think that's why the movie did not get a trilogy.
And that's possible because Scream 4 was actually the only one I saw in the theater up to that
Okay.
point.
Okay.
I saw Scream 5 in the theater. I didn't go see Scream 6, and actually, I still haven't watched Scream 6.
Really? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, well, I was like, well, my review for Scream came out. I was planning on just watching all of them and doing a whole series. Then I decided to take a break. Like I said, it's been 3 months since I put up a video, so
Sure,
they're
sure.
coming.
Yeah.
But
Well, I would
that's
love
when
to
I was
hear
going to
it.
get to.
Yeah.
But Scream 4, I don't know. I mean, at that time, that was when I was going to the theater literally every weekend. I didn't obviously
Nice.
watch a horror film every weekend,
Yeah.
but I watched something. I had the AMC deal where you got 3 tickets a week for $20 a month. And so I went and watched just whatever was playing because the
Right.
ticket didn't cost me anything. I paid $20 a month and could watch
That's awesome,
like
man.
12 movies.
Wow.
I don't know that I saw a preview for Scream 4.
I didn't either. I didn't either.
And I was just, hey, I'm going to the theater tomorrow. Let me check the app on my phone and see what's playing. I'm like, Scream 4? Well,
Yeah.
hell yeah, I'm going to go watch that. And I enjoyed it. But, I was in a theater with 5 people.
Exactly. 'Cause nobody knew it was freaking
Yeah,
showing.
like I said, I mean, I'm almost certain that I didn't even see a trailer for it. And like I said, I was going to the theater every weekend.
Yes.
So not
Yes.
seeing a trailer for it means that they weren't showing it. Cause maybe, if I went and saw, some comedy, yeah, I could understand that you're not going to show a Scream 4 trailer.
True.
But pretty much any other kind of film, you'd see a Scream 4. I mean, a Scream film,
Absolutely.
Um,
Yes.
So yeah, it was
Well-
kind of like I said, I was kind of surprised when I saw it. It's like I'm not even sure that it was even on my radar at all when I saw it. But so
Same
yeah,
here.
it could very well be that's the reason that the trilogy didn't get made is because it didn't get the support that the first 3 got because
not.
they didn't market it and in the way. And it was still kind of the same thing back, when it came out, movies don't stay in the theater but a couple of 3 weeks now.
Right.
Back when I
Sure.
was a kid, E.T. played at the theater down the street from me for a year and a half. And that theater only had 4 screens, and one of them was E.T.
Oh, my-
Poltergeist played for a year. Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark played for over a year.
I bet
That
it did.
doesn't happen anymore. If you don't see it first or second weekend, you're probably not going to see it in the theater.
It's like a 2-week window now. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And a really successful movie will stay a month.
Yes. That's right.
Because they're still putting people in the theaters. But yeah, the turnover is just so fast now. And that was one of the things that hurt Scream 4 is, by the time people, the word got out that the movie was even there, it was out of theaters.
It was too late. And that's how I found out. I never saw a trailer on TV, a commercial. Never did. I found out the same way that Sharon, she had the same experience.
Oh,
So
yeah, I
did
see that.
Stella. She had the same experience. I found out because I drove by the front of my theater to drop off my niece or something to go, and I looked up and they had a Scream 4 poster on the wall outside, and I'm like, "Whoa, what? Like, what? Are you serious? Is there a new Wes Craven Scream?" I blew.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my gosh!" So we came back the next day, and I dragged my sister with me, and we went and saw it the next day.
Well, you had to, or you'd have missed it. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. It was gone so fast. So, Neil, last question of the night, and we're going to say goodnight. This is for you, actually. Russell
Okay.
sitting in a $5 super chat. Russell, thanks again, buddy. And Neil, this says, what's your favorite scary movie? He knows mine is Scream 4. Do you have a favorite Wes Craven? So I guess what's your favorite scary movie? And do you have a favorite Wes Craven movie?
Like I said, I consider Scream 1 and 2 to be like almost on equal with each other. If you force me to pick one, I'll pick Scream, just for the originality of being the original.
Yeah.
But as far as the rewatchability, the story, the characters, I mean, I really like Scream 2 effectively as much as I like the original. Scream 3 is a little under that, and Scream 4 is a little under that.
Okay.
And like I said, I haven't seen Scream 6, but Scream 5 is like I guess they just go in order. Scream 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It sounds like it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I guess they're getting progressively worse. But then again, I didn't hate Scream 5. I know a lot of people didn't care for it all that much, but I was like, I got out of the theater, and maybe it's because I hadn't seen a Scream movie in forever. Because there was a bit of a gap between 4 and 5.
It was.
But
like
when I got out of the theater, I was like, that was a damn good movie. I had a great time watching that, even though I wasn't happy with some of the characters that got killed off in it. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by it, with it having been so long since a Scream film came out. So I definitely don't hate it. So but it's like they say on the Night Watch Zone all the time with their rankings, like one of them's got to be last.
It has to be. It
has to be. They can't all be number one. So yeah, that would be my ranking of the Scream franchise. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But there's not a whole lot of separation between them. 1 and 2 literally are on par with each other. So that's
okay.
And as far as my favorite Wes Craven film, it's probably Scream.
Okay.
Nightmare on Elm Street is really, really close.
Love it.
So yeah.
Okay. Awesome, man. Well, there you go, guys. Now you know. So guys, listen, we're gonna end it here. I want to say 2 things before we all shut down. First one is thank you all for all of your generosity tonight. We hit 20 super chats in the stream. And as a result, the Super Chat Reward Challenge was won. You guys won it. So I will be back. And you know what? I want it too because I get to spend another stream with you guys. And I love spending time with you guys. And you're also supporting the channel to help this channel grow and to stay alive and keep getting me more content to do. It helps the channel. So it's a win-win really for everyone. But I want to thank you for your generosity, opening up to do that, and for gifting memberships. It's so kind, you guys. Thank you. And I want to thank my moderators, of course, Sarah, Julie, Val, and Mayanne. Thanks to you. Your work does not go unnoticed. And guys, I would ask you in the chat to all give a quick thank you to the moderators tonight, because they help keep the chat staying in the environment I want it to be in, which is uplifting, positive, respectful, and loving, if you will. I'll go so far as to say that because I really will, Neil. Sound as crazy as it sounds, but they do a good job, and trust me, if they weren't here, you would notice. So thank you guys for moderating. You guys are wonderful, and I want to thank my guest Neil, of course, from Neon Black Reviews. There's links in the chat, and if one of you guys, one of my mods, would put that in again right here at the end, as he is approaching 1,000 subscribers, guys, and you guys helped. Yeah, you're 8. Oh my gosh, guys, he's 8 away. This is so incredible. Basically, that's halfway from where this stream started, where you were, and that's because
even more than half.
Yeah, even more than half.
I think we needed 25 when we started, so now we only need 8. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate that so much.
Wow. Yes. And I want to thank you all as well, because, the community, Neil, here, one thing I want to brag on my community, they step up. If I ask them for, anything, and they'll step up. And you know what? It's because they know you're a friend, and they know that I wouldn't bring you on here if we weren't friends. And number 2, if you didn't have great content, because I know your content, and now they're going to get to know it. So it's beautiful. So thank you all, guys.
Appreciate the kind words, and for all the new subs too. Be warned, I do cover some very disturbing films from time to time. But most of the stuff I do is more mainstream horror. Yeah. But I do watch the the really nasty stuff too, and I do
Sure.
reviews for those as well. So not
That's
every
all right.
video is going to be for you, but
Well,
but if you do like that kind of stuff, give me some
Yeah.
recommendations because I'm kind of running out. So
well, there you go, guys. Get on it. Get on it. You have an assignment. But yeah, Neil, thank you again for tonight. I'll meet you backstage in just a minute. I appreciate
Sure.
you coming on. This has been so fun, and I promise you, if you're up for it, I want to have you back much, much sooner this time. I promise.
yeah, just like I tell Knight, just anytime you need me, let me know, and I'll try to make it happen. So
Sweet. Love it. Okay, guys, listen, before we go, I had just booked this afternoon not long before our stream started. Actually, I got final confirmation. I am going to be interviewing for the first time on the channel the stunt coordinator for Scream 5. It's John Copeman, and he will be joining me on Saturday, May the 3rd. It's 2 weeks from Saturday at 7 p.m. Central. And we are going to be discussing Scream 5. He's the first guest I've been able to have that has worked on Scream 5 other than Nate, which Nate was a good friend of mine. He helped get the design for the Scream Ghostface costume that they used. He was responsible for the costume, but he was never actually working on set. So we're going to get to talk to John Copeman, who was the stunt coordinator for Scream 5. And for those of you who don't know, that means he was in charge of the entire stunts in the movie. All the stunt workers worked for him. He's the boss. And so he was the top guy for all the stunts we see in the movie. And there were many, as you know. So join me, mark it on your calendars. In fact, if my moderators, if one of you could quickly, I know we're wrapping, if you could put a link to actually Mayanne, look at Mayanne, she's already on it. I believe that's the one. If you would all go right now, there's 26 people hanging. If you could all go click that link real fast and hit the like button, because I want to have 50 likes before he comes. I want him to feel welcome and let him know that we're all excited for his coming on the channel. So thank you, May. You nailed it. And please, guys, as we log off, please go hit that link and subscribe. I'm not subscribed, sorry. Hit the like button and on the live stream, and then go subscribe to Neil. That's what I'm trying to say if you haven't already. Okay, guys, my throat's given out. It says it's done. So this has been great. Neil, again, thank you for being here. And this has been so much fun. So much fun.
it really was.
All right, guys, everyone in the chat, I will see you tomorrow night for the reward live stream. I'll be back and I'll probably have a guest. You never know. It may just be me, or I may bring a friend along. So you just got to stay tuned and join me. I'll set the stream up probably tomorrow morning. It'll be there so you guys can start going and liking it. All right. Much love, everyone. Have a wonderful night, and I will see you all tomorrow. Good night, guys.
All right. Good night, guys.